Hey everyone, this is Manly Badass Hero, and welcome back to The Letter. Previously, we completed the vast majority of Luke's route, and now we're on to the various finales. Running as quick as I can, as if any minute whoever finished off Shuriken will jump up from the cellar and grab me. At some point in my panic, I've also drawn my pistol, the closest thing I have to comfort after that. Who is she? Shuriken said he doesn't recognize her from my description. An outsider. A dog of another businessman that holds a grudge of me. Or a ghost. I simply can't remember who, if she is. There's plenty of them. Or the swear is, and Kylie's darling child, she will never hurt to you, Luke. Speaking of which... what's this route doing? Did we go down straight to the bomb like I thought, or... No, we're still kinda... There's a little bit of an interesting split right here, where actually... It can either go up early, or it can go up later. Meaning with the other routes. Who, then? The only person I can think of right now giving me an answer, that little pig. Should be sounding asleep at the study. That forking mongrel is on this, isn't he? Looking over that woman. Getting caught on purpose so he can distract us and get out to me. And what of Hana? What do they do to her? Are they also the reason why she's missing? He's a police officer. He's like has easy access to where they're keeping Hana's corpse. A bullet to the head is the least we deserve for creating this nightmare.
That's right, my love.
He should be stoned to death.
You don't need them.
Burned.
Make them pay.
Make up for every single wrong he's done.
For all the wrong they've to us.
Upon my entrance, the door leading to the foyer burst open with a loud clap, accompanied by the rumbling of the thunder outside. The downpour is intensified, and the lightning streaks across the night sky more frequently than hours before. I ignore all of it, heading straight for the stairs with only my purpose in mind, and her whispers, leading me, calling me, beckoning.
We don't need them.
But sure, my foot taking on the first step upstairs, noise to my left distracts me, briefly halting my movements while curiosity takes over my every murmurs in my head. And it's a good thing, perhaps, that I did, because as soon as I look up, I see him. The detective. Just as he's about to jump down from the furniture that somehow ended up piled blocking the door to the parlor. What happened there? They really think getting out of this house would be that easy.
Teach him, my lord. Put him in his place.
My feet's already moving before any rationale could stop me. I hand firm at my gun when I finally release the safety from it and take aim at him. My finger on the trigger is more than itching to shoot, but I hold back. More than seeing him bleed, I want to see the expression on his face once he realizes everything he's doing is futile. He's trapped. His life's in my hand. Well, you aren't as coming as I thought. I can tell the exact moment the realization dawns on him. A short second of his body freezing and blood draining from his face when his feet hits the floor. He wishes no time drawing his own gun, but by then it's too late. He's already a prey. Trapped by his own recklessness.
Pathetic.
Still, he glares at me. Still, he fights back.
Now, little pig. Manners. You're in no position to be pointing that gun at people.
There's no desperation in him like I'm hoping. Just an annoyance flickering shortly before being hit underneath a challenge. The likes of him are the kind of people I hate the most. Even though their failures already glaring down at them, mocking every worthless move they make, they have the impudence to stare people in the eye.
Why don't you put yours down first, and then we'll talk about manners.
Oh, he talks back. The gall! You know, your kind pisses me off so much.
Knowing, most of the time, like a damn pest you can't be rid of. But to some degree it is. Commendable. I'll give him that. After all, we're almost the same in that regard. Almost. I'm still the better person, of course. He tells me to put the gun down, but I see no reason why I should. I'm a homeowner. In defense of my own home. I have the right to, I'd like to think. Questionable primitive firearms aside. Bloody peasants. Even knowing that, I can never seem to figure out how their minds fully work. Peasants, how do they work? As your vultures been anyone at this end of this kind of standstill.
Sorry about this. I really don't have time for you.
A short lapse. It's all it is. One moment to lay my guard down. If I can react, he fires 2 quick shots in succession. A sound cracking from the empty foyer almost as loud as the storm raging outside, breaking the tense air in the room. Pain explodes in my wrist 2 seconds later. Just a graze. However, it is enough to cause my fingers to tense and the pistol slides to the floor with a dull thud.
Why, you insolent!
The next moments happen in a blur. In the following second, I'm being tackled bodily to the ground, backing the cold floor, hard and an arm pinning me down by the neck. There's a fleeting minute of panic, and I struggle while I try to untangle myself from him, but he manages to knock me out. And then, a scream, a wail piercing through the thick air, shrill and sharp enough for both of us to cover our ears and come down on our knees. And with each sharp note beating harshly against my head are the images again. Faces and voices so utterly unfamiliar, sticking in every crevice, turning sinister with each shift. They're not mine, but they might as well be with how vivid and crisp they appear. Over and over they all flash behind my eyes until it becomes unbearable, pounding, throbbing, thudding against my skull worse than any headache a hangover can give. Bloody, I'll take a hangover this any day. And haze begins to fill my visions, black spots dance around the corners of my eyes. Beside me, the detective suddenly falls, only sitting quietly to himself as something distinctly red flows from under him. Blood, perhaps? The blurry mess of my vision doesn't quite register. Nothing does, except the voice unexpectedly ringing above the discord. When I finally gather the strength to look up, everything falls away into the background. All that matters is her.
I told you, didn't I? Everything you're doing is useless, Ashton Frey.
It's all useless, Ashton Frey.
And now, you're dying. Meddlesome fool. How does dying alone feel, Ashton Frey?
Hannah? You're not supposed to be here.
For a moment, I wonder if it had been me who died and not her. After all, that can be only logical explanations why I hardly draw a breath while she stands there. Of course, another logical explanation would be that I'm high in this really, really bad trip. Other reasons doesn't suit me. Though it can't be very vivid for me, even from down here I can see the blood that stains her dress. Seeing that makes me feel as my hands are covered in them once more. You know, if the coroner took the body away, they would have taken that dress away by now. Warm and sticky, sweet and sickly.
Oh, Luke, darling, my love. You look so upset. Are you not happy to see me?
But let's be honest here. Any explanation, any reason to why dead woman walks more as a bad one to me, especially when it's one that I've killed. I mean, how even? What sort of a sick joke is this? Nothing of this still matters, weak as I am, with this headache crushing my skull, bearing down me with a weight that leaves me gasping. Soon, despite my efforts to fight it, the entire room tilts forward and the floor rises to meet my face. Don't worry, my love. Everything will be over soon. The end of the thunder and the howling of the winds, her sickening laughter is the last thing I hear before the blackness spreads and claims me. My whole body seizes with a gasp violent enough to wake me. Just as soon, my eyes fling open, looking wildly around, searching for that familiar sickening smile. There's a brief moment of confusion when I don't find her in the only empty room before me. The storm still rages outside with a draft sweeping into the room from the balcony door I forgot to close last night. In the far-off horizon, lightning cuts sharply through the dark sky, illuminating everything in sight, before disappearing with a boom and thunder as it heals.
A dream. It must have been a dream.
Yet it all feels too real. The migraine still pounding in my head serves to remind me of that, though maybe because I haven't eaten anything since this afternoon. Coupled with everything going on in this bloody mansion this past week, I no longer have any doubts what this is. Stress. Just stress. And a ghost. And a bunch of people dying. What else can it be? Everything will pass soon. This headache will be gone tomorrow, along with every forking problems, and all will be well.
Fucking nightmares.
The expensive mattress and pillows feel heavily under my tired body, and I flop back down to it. Burying my face into the soft Egyptian cotton, simply laying still makes the idea of sleep especially inviting. With this irritating pounding in my head, it's impossible to get even a single wink of rest. Without the alcohol, I'm going to have it rough trying to calm down and sleep. I suppose now is a good time as any for that drink. Hannah won't approve, of course, but she's no longer here. Perks of being a widow and all that. I throw the blankets aside and rush outside, for another bout of regret hits the pit of my stomach. She's gone. She's dead. Just like every other people in my life, nuisance or otherwise. Only I remain. Nothing else matters. It's dark, but the large windows of the foyer illuminate the very much more easily than any of the other rooms. That's the smallest of blessings I can even ask for, in the hopes that I can go to bed after this little trip without further incident. But I have to stop in my tracks as something catches my eye. Carefully I draw closer and, on the floor, a smear. In the darkness, it's possible what it is, but left an ugly track, disappearing underneath the door leading to the dining room. Oh god, it's Ash's body. Whoever left this hero have to answer Johans in the morning. He hates seeing mess, being mud tracks, a tiny drop of wine on a serving platter. Bastard. For now, I follow it, letting it guide me in this darkness, even if I feel its purpose is anything but. Taking amusement imagining how Shuriken's expression will change from the surprise to disdain upon seeing it. However, I can only feel disappointment once I open the doors to the kitchen. The only empty wine bottles put aside to be cleaned and stored for collection. And I can't be bothered to try and find out where Johans is in the absence on the Hannah's orders. Even death she could do is to bug me like this. Keep me from my beloved wine. I do have other options, although I'd rather not go down the wine cellar myself, especially in the darkness. But when needs must be satisfied, oh god, you're gonna find one mess. Can't be helped. But the need to win back is monumental, right? That I really need this fucking drink. Even the smear seems to lead me to it. Ash, no. But like in a dream, there's still that horrendous smell in this place. It's really an awful stench. But it's not too far off from now. Dearest Hannah smelled until they've taken her to the morgue. Maybe she's taking them down to the jail cells. Despite this, I can't bring myself to leave. So I sit down, looking anywhere but the smear as I've converged on one side of the wall. It always reminds me of the room upstairs where I briefly kept her. Why bother? There's also a pool of dark liquid near the wine vat, though I don't dare examine what it is. Some things I'd rather not know. I say that fix it in the colorful glass balls that line the wall, before I pull one out and pop open the cork from the bottle. Taking a swig like I'm drinking water. Or rather a huge chug of the stuff. There's some delight when I feel the delightful burn in the back of my throat and realize that it isn't exactly the one I have in my hand. Whiskey. How quaint. This explains where the rest of the alcohol was. I really shouldn't be drinking. It trace is dangerous enough as it is. To intoxicate myself while there's a killer on the loose and Shuriken hasn't come back. I must look like some kind of bum who's managed to scrunch enough money for a bottle of booze.
Hannah would kill me if she saw me in here like this.
If she was alive.
Probably say something scathing and witty like... You might as well shoot yourself in the liver, Lucille. Really now? She was such a nag.
A morbid mockery of a tale directed at no one. Soon, choked laughter rings out in the wine cellar. It takes me a bit to realize that I'm the one who is laughing. My cheeks are wet with tears, too. Because damn it.
I miss her.
It's stupid and crazy of me to feel this way. It's my fault she's gone.
I wonder how it is. Are you in here, Hannah? Can you hear me? How is it, huh? To die? It must have been dreadful, no? I can't imagine it. I very much don't want to.
Look at me. Talking about the horrible inevitability that is death. How depressing. It's any wonder that I haven't gotten on the edge yet. Or maybe I have and I just don't want to admit it. It could just be the alcohol. For a moment I had to stop drinking. The whiskey must have hit me harder than I thought. But then again, looking at it, I've nearly emptied the bottle. What's left of it, the amber liquid gleams tunneling in the low light of the cellar. I really didn't even drink so much. I only wanted to take off some of the edge. But I might as well finish it off. Ooh, that's a lot of whiskey. Regret can always wait. Though it comes sooner rather than later when I feel my breathing become slow and irregular. My hands have long been cold and clammy. Around the time I was halfway through the bottle, but that urge to vomit has just started. Getting to my feet is easier said than done, however. My coordination is basically shot to high of how much I've drank in one go. There's no doubt in my mind that trying to get up those stairs will be a struggle. There's no way I'm going to vomit in here. I don't want the stench of a throw up anywhere near my collection. The road spins even parking anywhere near the stairs, so I have to lean on the valve to stay standing. That's when a curious click echoes in the cellar. I have to question if it's my alcohol-addled brain making up the fact that the door just appeared out of nowhere.
This is interesting.
Luke, go back home. You're drunk. Oh, wait, you aren't home. Perhaps if I had a more sober mindset, I'd think twice about exploring unknown territory. And look at that throwback. I remember being wary after seeing this place in my dream. Running even. I can't kick my curiosity to the curb so easily, while the alcohol making me more adventurous. Besides, what's the worst that could happen? Descending even further deep into the underground leaves me feeling reeling, disorientated.
What in blazes? What's going on in the navel down here?
It looks even more horrid than the one in my nightmare. Torches and chains hang along the walls, and the cells are set into brick. It doesn't even occur to me to ask how the torches are lit. Because I won't even be exaggerating to say that the whole place reeks of death. I hobble along down the passage on one hand, trails Along the wall, and the other still clutches a whiskey bottle I've emptied. There's a giddy feeling as soon as the shock passes.
If I knew this was here, I could have put it to good use. Maybe.
Could be a hell of a game room. And this cell here is for people who have bad taste in video games. We lock you up and leave you with bad video games, with your bad taste. I have to stifle a drink, giggles at friend to spill uncontrollably. It's a wonder for all the horrid things that might have happened here. And it opens up a lot of questions about the history of the mansion. I'm no expert, but I don't think jails were common feature in homes back then. How many people were locked up in here? What have they ever done to deserve this place? I can see little that speaks of its unfortunate happening, so. Not no particular cell draws my attention. Wherever something in it on the far wall is a small pile of something in it. Thrown together in a small mound of someone has just hastily dumped them here. It's possible to tell in this low light. Later I realized that the dark smith on the floor going to the kitchen and the wine cellar ends here. I wonder if they like all the bodies are going to be in this one cell. But that's not where my gaze lingers. A small stone gleams. Its dark color is stark contrast to the hay littered the floor. It's such a simple thing that I could have passed off as another ordinary stone if it isn't for the symbol's paint on the thick cord. And in my curiosity I kneel down and reach an arm for the bars to retrieve it. I'm quickly back to my feet, however, scowling at the dirt on my knees. The stone is cold and heavy in the palm of my hand. Interesting trinket, an accessory most likely. It's a shame I don't know what the symbols mean. My amusement at the find is quick enough to fade, though, as the woman's laughter echoes in the passage. It's that woman's voice. I need to look to know it's her, but that's a problem, because I hear her, but I don't see her. I've been terrified when I first saw her, but they don't call alcohol liquid courage or liquid stupidity in this case, as I seek her out. A trinket slips from my finger and in its place my knife.
Where are you? Show yourself!
There are eyes on me, and every time I turn around there is nothing. Nothing but a horrid feeling that buzzes under my skin. Anxiety overpowers the haze of intoxication and wraps its arms around me, suffocating and straining. But terror doesn't take hold until I hear a whisper in my ear and familiar arms come from behind and rest across my chest.
You've come for me, my prince. I'm so happy.
Burn it. There's a creeping feeling, as though the hands written all over me. Something in me screams and snarls at the thought of being held down. This is wrong, it says to supply the obvious. Hannah's dead. She's supposed to be dead.
You came home to us, and with us you will stay. Our lord, my prince.
Get your hands off me! What do you want?
Though wrong, doesn't quite paint a picture of what happens next. My screams come at the moment those hands push their fingers through my lips. I can't see what they really are as my eyes friend to roll into the back of my skull and pain racks my entire being. I'm silenced on the verge of choking, suffocating, drowning. I can feel everything. They crawl and slither down my throat like snakes, searching and filling every part of me, leaving sludged skins and crushing my insides. My body shivers and the smallest movements bring the greatest of pains. I feel like I'm about to burst. No matter how long we stay like this, death does not come to bring me relief. Up and down around they go until they all converge around my chest where my heart should be, and they squeeze. Tears flow free from my cries are muffled and snot drips down my nose. I'm not in control of my body at all, and I think, this is it. This is how I die. But then there's nothing. Nothing but lightness and air and the feeling of being emptied out. It's great for awe. I feel sullied and tainted, like I've been dissected, torn apart and put back in the wrong order. My cheeks are as wet as I snarl like a snotty child. Bile rises in my throat and I want to be sick, trying to throw up the remaining remnant of what I may have been inside of me. I nearly forget about her in my devastated state, until she laughs.
Please! Please, no more!
What is happening, Luke?
Please! Oh God! Please! Somebody help me!
Are you getting ghost tentagled? Oh God. But her laughter only grows louder, echoing in my head. My heart seizes in my chest and I... A curious local discovers an eerily empty mansion months later. With its new owners having disappeared into thin air, whispers quickly spread across Luxborn City. Officers who investigated have found only smears of blood on the walls and floors, and nothing else. Eventually they've deemed the mystery of the Emmergun mansion as another tragedy brought on this theme by the Anselm Butcher. But for those who still believe in the stories of the old and those who know the truth, it is but a testament to the curse and the secrets the Ermengarde mansion has hidden for centuries. If there will come a time those will be finally revealed, only the whole halls of the mansion know. To this day, it stands silent. However, on nights when the wind howls and the thunder booms across the sky, some still claim hearing the voices within, of cries and wails that fill the nights and desperate calls of help for anyone who dares listen. Somebody, please get me out of here. Help. Anyone help me, please. So that is the worst ending in the game. Time to get the others.
Tio? Where are you, Tio? Tio? Please? She's here! She's still here, Tio! Help me! Please!
See, dear you, if reading this to me, you've finished playing the game in one way or another, and we thank you for the time you spent learning the letter. Given our passion project more than anything, we seriously hope we deliver and bring you one of a kind of visual novel experience. The letter is hopefully impressive, many visual novels coming for us, like we did with the game, and would like to support us, please consider doing to our Patreon account. See, social media links. Our usual handle is YangYangMobile. Thank you much for everything, let's talk soon.
Everything you're doing is useless, Ashton Frey. And now, you're dying. Alone. Meddlesome fool. Are you awake? It feels like a terribly cruel dream, my prince. I do not even dare avert my eyes if I can. To do so, I'm afraid that you might be spirited away. You promised you would be here again. Someday. We were afraid that you never would. We've been alone here, you see, in our home, our special place, waiting for you. After all this time, finally you've come. And now we'll all be together. Forever. Everything you're doing is useless, Ashton Frey. And now, you're dying. Meddlesome fool.
Hannah, why? Where have you been? We've been looking all over this place for you. Hello? If you don't answer, I'll have to hang up, Buttercup. What? The attic? What are you doing there? The servants haven't been sent to clean that place yet. Look, don't go anywhere. I do not want you breaking that head of yours trying to go down these stairs. Just wait for me, all right? I'm already on my way. Hannah?
Welcome home, my prince. Welcome home.
So to sum up this section, basically we've gone through most of the route. I've shown you And for the most part, it's not too different, except for the first major scene. After that, it's just basically fluffier versions of Luke's usual scenes, where he's more concerned about Hana, things like that, but the main actual stream structure doesn't change. And here we are in the final finale of this route, which I think is going to have the most difference, most likely.
Now, Feathers.
As you should be, my lord.
Listen, right. I need you to...
You broke into my house, and somehow, you expect me to listen like a good little boy. Are you a bit touched in the head, Feathers? I'm not the one breaking laws here.
Look here, fucker. If I wanted you dead, I could have done it so many times already. In fact, I can easily shoot you down right here, right now, and you won't be able to do a damn thing, even with that gun.
You know what I'm thinking right now? In another lifetime, we would have probably gotten along well.
And he should be grateful. You're already gracious enough, allowing him to stand in your presence like this.
Luke, no!
Hey, now you two, I'm sure we can all talk about this first.
Teach this loud a lesson.
What is it that you people really want with me? This is the second time this week, and I'm really getting weary of this little game. Did the NCA send you to apprehend me? Or has somebody paid you off to kill me? Which one is it, Feathers? Mind you, my arm's getting tired. Better answer quick if you don't want to beat the business end of this gun.
I'm not with NCA. I'm just here to help. There's something else in this house, and we're all in danger. You have to believe me, right? You need to let us go. You need to get out of here before it's too late. If you want to keep your sorry ass alive, you'll listen to people with more brain cells than you.
Why, you insolent!
Luke, help me. Please. Help me. Please. Please make it stop. Please. They're in my head. Screaming. It hurts so much. Luke, help me, please. I can't.
What am I doing? Why am I even hesitating? I won't go so far to claim that I'm any sort of decent human being. This is Hannah, my wife I'm talking about here. What sort of husband, what sort of father would it be if I just stood by idly while she was in danger? It doesn't change the fact that this is all of the fucking insane, of course. Having all these intruders is crazy. The thing about going at this thing is crazy. I can hardly classify as a person in my eyes. Perhaps a maggot that needs to be crushed under my shoe, just like the rest of this sorry lot. But a person, hardly. But I care none for any of it. They don't matter. All that matters is that Hannah and my children are in danger. The cold pours over me, freezes me in place once more when I try to make demands. I have to take deep breaths, grit my teeth, and steel my fist to even find the courage to speak up.
Let go of her! Don't hurt her! Whatever it is you want! Just don't you dare hurt her!
And if my voice isn't as firm as I'd like, it doesn't matter. I will beg and plead if I have to. On my knees, bend my fucking proud neck and maybe even break it, just to make sure she's safe. It's not her life alone that is in danger. Our children's lives are on the line. Even mine, perhaps. Because I don't know what I would do if anything happened to Hannah. I will plead for the woman who will be the mother of my children. The cold stillness is gone from my body and my very skin feels like it's on fire. And I have to shout, scream at her when Hannah continues to cry out in pain.
What do you want? Money? Is that it? I'll give you however much you want.
Luke, please make it stop. I want it to stop.
Luke's gonna find out there's one problem he can't solve with money. Yet.
Just stop whatever it is you're doing to her! Can't you see she's hurting?
I cannot stand for this.
Let go of her! Now!
I say it with such a ridiculous conviction. And of course she won't listen. Why would she? She has the upper hand here. There's no reason for her to do as I ask. But her voice is but a whisper and deathly slow, and I'm hard-pressed to hear it over the pounding of my heart in my ears. She speaks. The woman from the gardens and the servant girl from the ballroom. From the hallucination, vision, memories, whatever they were. A hush settles over the room as we listen. Do you really wish to be with her? There are no second thoughts.
More than anything! So please, let her go!
Though her expression doesn't change, I have this most awful feeling that it wasn't the answer she was looking for. I'm pretty sure that ghost is mad jealous. I can see how the woman's fingers tighten around Hannah's throat, hear the hitch in her breath, and I fear that I made the worst decision in speaking out. I didn't think she would listen, yet she does. A hand on Hannah's back sends her falling down the stairs. I move to catch her, and it sends us both sprawling at the foot of the stairs. With my back to the ground and her on top of me, the pain doesn't even register in my head. All I can worry about is Hannah and the baby's well-being as I pull both of us off the ground and away from the stairs. Away from her.
Are you alright, Hannah? Are you hurt?
It takes much too long for the liking before she speaks. All she's able to do for a moment is whimper in pain, a hand to her throat. And when she does manage to speak, her voice is far too faint along with the hold she has in my arm. It's terrifying to see her like this, and to think I nearly lost her.
We are fine, Luke. I'm sorry. Just give me a moment.
For a moment we forget. But...
You deserve each other.
Okay? Is that an insult? Just hearing her voice triggers something in Hana and she starts to tear up. Her face contorts into one of pain and fear. But I grab her by the shoulders to keep her in place so that she can see me and only me. So that I can only see her too.
Look at me, Hana. Look, I'm here. You're safe. I won't let her hurt you again. You understand? Just breathe.
I don't know exactly what the bloody hell is going on, yet I can't find it in me to care. Whoever these people are and whatever they're here for. These are not acceptable conditions for a pregnant woman. For all I know, this is all some dumb charade to get to me. All the times I've seen the woman before, it could have all been an act to get to me, to get under my skin. And to think they dare hurt Hana. For all that fear that I'd felt seeing her touch Hana, I could only think of her as an actress in a grotesque makeup. No, it's a ghost. My hand still shakes, the fear not having quite gone, but anger still fills me as I look at the woman, a sneer on my face.
How dare you! I don't care who you are, but how dare you touch Hana! I want you out of my house! Out before I call the police and have you put away for the rest of your miserable life! And that goes for all of you!
I hold my ground, firm and strong with my declaration. The nerve of her. She just laughs in my face. A terrible, dreadful laugh that makes me feel as though there are ants crawling on my skin and maggots squirming into my ears.
You are telling me to get out of your house. You threatened to lock me up.
She laughs, and she laughs.
What's so funny? What are you laughing at? None of this is funny!
But she persists and it almost feels like her voice is in my head.
Oh, no different. No different. You're all the same. You can all suffer together.
And that is when everything turns a complete and utter shite. Let's go, Rangers! It's a slow thing. A whisper more than a bang, as the darkness creeps into every corner of the room. The walls shudder and groan. Blood runs from the ceiling, crawls down the walls and stains the floor. It feels as if life itself is being sucked from the house, slowly but surely. The beauty of the place is gone, with only the dead, decaying remains of a mansion left in its wake. I don't have to wonder if it's just a foyer that's become this nightmarish place. I can already hear it. Gone are the growling of thunder and lashings of rain and wind against the foyer's high windows. All of it has to be replaced by more of a grating sound. A cacophony of voices from nowhere and everywhere echoing throughout the now horrid walls. Voice that neither belongs to us nor the people who live here.
What's going on?
All throughout the house, shouts of alarm and surprise ring out, a mirror to the horror creeping up in each of us. Who wouldn't be shocked? This is insane. Even Daisy, feisty woman that she is, trembles at the sight of it, being desperate to Lily while Steel and Feather stand protectively in front of the two. Brave of them, I have to admit, to put themselves in the front line like that. Though it doesn't necessarily mean they won't feel the same fear as the rest of us. Something I don't blame them for. There seems to be no end in sight to this insanity. If anything, this only feels like it's the beginning of the end.
Help me! Oh my god! Please, somebody! Anybody! Who are you? Stay away!
No. Stay away. Stay away.
I just now realized that one's Johan's. The screams fill the mansion. She laughs all the while, a harsh, agonizing sound that goes on for what feels like forever. It was nothing but silence, her horrid smile and the pale hands reaching out to me. Calling, beckoning, pleading. I'm terrified. I really am. Like I should be. But I've never been one to truly stay afraid. I've long feared that fear will not get me anywhere. Cowering in a corner doesn't keep me safe and will not keep me alive. Not like rage does. I've learned to use this burning hate inside me to survive. There's no difference now. Punch the ghost.
Stay away from me!
Why? Why do you wish to leave? This is where you belong, my lord. Remember the blood we share? This is your home. Don't you remember? You promised to return, to stay, together with me, with us, with people no different from you.
What is she talking about, Luke? What does she mean?
Don't listen to her, she lies. I promised no such thing to anyone. Hannah, you're the one who bought this house. How should I know what she's babbling about? I never even wanted to be here in the first place.
That's true, Hannah. You only convinced her with wine. A terrible case of mistaken identity. That must be it. I'm quite sure of it. I don't know this woman, this monster. Why would I say that to someone like her? In my entire lifetime, I've only made and kept sincere promises to mere two people. Hannah Evans and Eleanor Chandler. No one else. The rest of those who claim I've promised anything to them can go fork themselves. Bloody hell. Well, it really is a bloody hell, isn't it? I may enjoy the company of women, but I'm not an idiot to start spouting such nonsense to anyone. The line must be drawn, especially when I keep myself alive. Yet she still goes on. Insists. Make me appear lying in front of these people.
Of course you still deny it. Have you truly forgotten? You haven't changed, I see. Still a deceiver.
She's lying!
You see, my love, nothing has changed. Still no difference, you and I. Just like the rest of us. Just like every single soul in this putrid wreck. We've waited for so long. You can hear them, yes. Their pleas, their calls, their invitation. Come, my lord. The house seeks its master.
She, the monster, reaches out again. Her hands a gory, abhorrent sight, along with that smile spread across her face. Her body is already moving on instinct, stumbling back one step at a time in a desperate bid to be away from her. Anything to put distance between me and this vile creature. No matter what she says, I am nothing like her. I need to get out of this house. Out of this country, preferably. Take Hannah with me. We can start a new life out in this dreadful city. Start a family. There's nothing for us here. Her parents are long gone, nothing to keep us tied to this place. Drunken has likely been taken by this woman, and he's not what binds me to this wretched city. I only need Hannah. We can leave.
Careful, Luke!
My footsteps on something send me sliding on my back and flat on the floor. Beside me a paper, a familiar one flutters down. It's this thing again from the open house. It feels less like a gimmick and more like a threat for recent events. It must have fallen from one of these peasants in the commotion earlier. Damn, peasants. For a moment they appear conflicted to see it in my hands, but wise to keep their opinions to themselves. Leaving the damn thing to simply bear its grisly message for everyone in the room to see. Help me. Help me. Help me. Is this it? What they've been telling us? Why everything in my life has gone to shite because of some stupid old letter. An invitation indeed. One I am not willing to accept. Not any time. From the top of the stairs, the creature moves again, drawing my attention back to her. Her gait remains slow and awkward as she walks forward, that smile never leaving her. But I don't. I won't give her the chance. I am not dying here. I certainly am not giving myself to a hideous creature like her either. Adrenaline kicks in, and despite panic gasps and worried glances from Daisy's friends, I pay them no mind as I reach the main door. Without warning, it slams open, revealing not to match the grounds like I'm expecting. Before my mind can even comprehend what's happening, black tendrils have already coiled tightly around my limbs, breaking every person in the foyer into the room. None of us even get to scream when darkness completely envelops us upon the doors closing.
Understand where your place is now, my love.
Hopefully not with you.
You belong here.
Oh.
Is it so difficult to grasp? We've been waiting.
So far this route's pretty similar to the true route. But obviously more people are alive and stuff. And, the context seems to be pretty different. As soon as my eyes adjust to the darkness of the room and I'm on my feet, I'm reaching for my knife and holding it out, watching, waiting for every movement. Usually has a way to put distance between me and these peasants. Who knows what they'll do now? We're all desperate to get out of this house. There's only 7 of us in this room. 4 of them. Remnants at that. I cannot trust these people not to turn on me. Bloody hell, even Hana's giving the same look as them now. The Minter's already gone loon, crouched in a corner muttering to herself. You can't really say anyone's safe from her. If anything, she's the one I should watch out for. I cannot trust anyone. Not anymore. Not after this. Despite the pleading look Lily shoots my way while they all huddle in the corner behind steel and feathers. But I have to remind myself that even people like her are capable of doing the unpleasant. She's only human after all. It's never an excuse. While even Hana has her cunning and manipulative moments, so she does it much more subtle than I. Why else would Lily show this letter to us that day if not to save herself? I guess that backfired her now that she and her own friends are also stuck here. Still, I have every right to be livid. Everything that I have built has fallen apart. All because these people came into our lives.
You! All of you! This is all your fault! If I've died to this bloody case, I'm taking you all down with me!
Put that knife down, Lucille.
Hey now, Mr. Wright. I know the situation ain't good, but we have to calm down. We're all in the same boat here.
You shut your mouth! If it weren't for you, or this letter, for all of you, none of this would have happened!
And blaming everyone in this room isn't going to get us out of this place. Please put that knife down, darling. You might hurt yourself.
Are you taking their side? You're also stuck in this nightmare, Buttercup! What about the children? Aren't you the least bit worried about them? That creature is out to get us, and you're still defending these people!
I'm not defending anyone, Luke. I'm just trying to be reasonable when you're clearly not.
I really like Luke's VA delivery here. He's really got them kind of hammy emotions going.
Oh, of course you're not. You're just the one who bought this bloody mansion to begin with. If I didn't know any better, you did this on purpose!
Why, no! Why would I ever do that? This was only meant to be an anniversary gift. For you. For us. For the family we're going to have.
Right, anniversary gift. Oh, here's your gift, darling. Oh, by the way, there's a curse included in that package. I hope that's all right.
Hey, that's usually a bonus depending on the type of person. Especially if you're a heavy metal fan.
Are you really that eager to get rid of me, Hana? Because if that's what you've been meaning to do all this time, you might as well just put a knife in my back while I'm...
Suddenly, Hana steps up and slaps the knife away from my hand. The knife slides uselessly under the table, out of my reach. I like how Hana is actually taking the place of Rebecca here. Before my mind registers what's happening, a sharp blow explodes in the side of my head, sending me reeling backwards. She merely stands before me afterwards, without even batting an eye, glaring at me as if she might just rip my head off in this instant. Sometimes I forget.
Don't you dare, Luke! Don't you dare imply I've ever thought of you that way!
That Hana is never the weak woman I believed her to be. How did I come to think of her as such? She used to be someone I can look up to, isn't she? You look at her now, the way she stands all tall, facing like a man like me, the same way she has done so all those years ago. I can't help but think, am I not responsible for taking that part of herself away from her? Enjoy your time as Miss Luke, right? What a bunch of shit. Realizing this, I can only look away, when she reaches up and places a hand on my face. Gone is the anger in it, only a soft smile remains while she looks at me with a shine in her eyes. The 7 years we've been together, I've only been nothing but a piece of shite to her. Yet here she is, still smiling at me the way she was done so many years ago. It's impossible not to feel like complete and utter trash like this. She has an uncanny way of doing that to me, really. Especially when she takes my hand in hers and places it right in her tummy. Right where 2 tiny babies are still growing. Ours.
Love, look at me. We've already talked about this. If we are still going to do this, it has to be the 2 of us. I will stay with you, but things are going to have to change if we want this to work. We can't keep doubting each other like this.
Not until we find a way out of here.
I'm sure we can. Maybe they know something we don't.
You're going to rely on them for that? These peasants who brought this on us?
Keep talking about us like that, and see if any of us here will keep you out of this place.
Rebecca, stop! All of you stop this!
To hear Lily speak out loud, I can't say I'm not surprised. She's always given me the impression of someone so meek from the moment I met her, either from her experience or her station in life. She's never struck me as someone fitting to be a real estate agent. Until now. Quietly, she puts herself between me and Daisy, getting whatever scathing words we get to hurl at each other. The way she glares at me. It reminds me of the way my own mummy would look at me. Particularly when I've done something wrong. That's not a stare she's unused to showing. She has done this before. Probably to a younger sibling. Huh. If she only sees us now as a pair of squabbling kids and not two mature adults, well, that's only to be expected. No doubt that's how she sees us. For a long moment there's only silence in the room. Still, the big oaf doesn't even dare break it. Neither does Feathers. We're both merely watching us. Bunch of whimsies, men. Not that matters when Lily starts speaking again, after some of the anger and tension has lifted from the room.
Stop this, please! With or without that damn piece of paper, we...
A deep breath. An exhale. And then she closes her eyes, a crease forming between her eyebrows while she grips her hand tightly in front of her.
We still would have ended up in this mess.
The atmosphere that descends into the room right after that. Emission is anything but pleasant. Can I call it that? An emission. It seems like it from the way her eyes nervously flick between her friends and I. She appears to know more than she lets on. How she makes herself appear small after dropping that bomb on us doesn't sit quite well with me. And patience is something I don't have the luxury of having right now and bestowing upon other people. What else does this girl know? What else is she not telling us? Because from the looks of this, even our friends has no idea what she's talking about. Unwilling to wait, I grab her arm before she retreats without explanation, waving the letter still in my hand in front of her.
Ow! Sir, you're hurting me!
Hey, hands off her, right?
Fuck off, Feathers. I have questions for your friend, and she better have the answers.
Damn, Feathers, what are you gonna do?
Luke, will you stop taking it out on every single person?
Your friend is hiding something, Daisy.
She struggles for a moment, but my hold eventually forces her to look up at me. Fear and uncertainty spreads across her features, especially when her eyes land on the damn paper. As much as I want to be considered right now, I want answers.
What do you mean, Lily?
I'm not sure about it.
Don't give me that, you know something!
Ow! Please, sir. I know the paper's useless, okay?
At the mention of the letter, all of a sudden Mint stands. I've almost forgotten she's here. Her ramblings having faded away and is shouting. Without warning, she snatches the paper out of my hand. It's a miracle it didn't rip right there and there. But the way she glares at it makes me want to do exactly that.
We should have gotten rid of this thing! We should have burned it at the first opportunity we got!
Thank you for contributing to this, Mint. Okay, now go sit back in the corner.
No! Even if we rip it to shreds, it won't do anything! I think...
You don't know what I've seen, Santos.
I think she does know what you've seen.
There were children! Victims! All because they had no idea what this thing will do to them! Oh god, those poor souls! They were screaming and begging before she...
Then what about those people they mentioned in the news lately? All those who died? My coworkers? The open house clients? None of them had seen it. Even Rose. And yet they're all dead. I should know. That letter has been with me since I picked it up. And I swear I didn't make copies of this thing. Even if I wanted to save myself, I wouldn't do that to my friends. Or anyone.
Is that what the trip to BRC was for?
Yes, I'm sorry. I couldn't tell you guys until I was certain. None of you believed me the first time. I had to find proof.
And yet we're all here! Are you taking me for a fool, Lily?
I have to go with whiskey on this. Who knows how many has already seen this before you found it? This cursed thing has to go!
We would have ended up here either way. Maybe? I really don't know. Sir, please. All I know is that paper isn't the reason why all of this is happening. There's something else that...
This place.
So to solve the curse, all we had to do was just go into this house with a series of flamethrowers. Apparently. Steele has been quiet this entire time. That's the sound of him talking. However whispered it is, still manages to catch us all off guard. We all pause, turning to him with likely the same question in our eyes.
What?
I mean, I just remembered something a friend told me. You know, stuff about ghosts, or curses. You probably don't want to hear it.
Of course you don't want to hear about ghosts or curses in a situation where we're stuck with ghosts and curses.
No! It might be something! What about this place, Zach?
There's still a moment where he hesitates, but Lily's urging eventually spurs him into speaking.
Remember what I told you the last time you and Ash visited? A few days ago?
You mean what Andrew told you? Those were just stories, Zach. It might not even help.
Regardless, Steele pauses while he allows Lily to remember. Soon enough, whatever it is dawns on her and her face lights up with something like hope. Of all things in this nightmare, hope! Her head snaps up and she reaches for Steele's arm to give it a squeeze. A reassurance, or a confirmation. The meaning is lost even to Daisy, who glances at them, baffled.
Belle, what are you... Becca, it's this place.
What? You mean, like, burn this place down?
I still think we should get rid of this letter before we start thinking of destroying a place with some historical value.
How about you just burn both?
What? No! We are not burning a multi-million-pound mansion, you peasants! I just spent a fortune on this!
Your mansion's covered in blood and it's 200% ghost.
Seriously, Luke? Are you really more worried about that?
Buttercup, marching, millions. It's gonna take years getting all that money back!
Well, you certainly won't be getting any of that money if you're dead. Really, Luke? Is that more important than your life?
Bloody fucking hell! Not only do I have trespassers on my property, but they're also arsonists!
It's not only that. Think about it.
Then they proceed to tell some ridiculous narrative about the supernatural. Stories about ghosts, legends, curses born out of greater anger and pain. Whatever else people used to scare children. Not that I believe any of it. As if knowing will help. Bunch of loons, these people. Officially all off their rockers. I think I'll be stuck in this nightmare with people like them. What did I ever do to the world? Of course, it's all absurd until...
I think it's just like what the professor guy said. Just like that old story. This mansion and some other thing might be keeping her here. You know, something he wanted in life, but never got to have. Something like that.
Or maybe it's not something, Zachary.
Someone. The who doesn't have to be uttered out loud. There's only one person in this room who that woman calls after. Every single one of them has heard it. Bloody hell, it's its reluctant shift in Daisy's eyes when they flicker over to me, though only briefly. She's also holding the information on her own, or perhaps a realization she just had. Doesn't matter. I know when people have slowly tried to turn on me. How do they think I last in this cutthroat world? Betray them before they do the same thing to you. Put a knife to their back before they can act. Kill or be killed. Survival, in a nutshell. What now? Are they gonna throw me at that creature? See what happens to save themselves? I am no fool.
No. You're all in on this, aren't you?
Are you people implying that my husband, that we should just...
Of course! Of fucking course! Ah!
Luke, that isn't what I...
Are you all going to stoop that low?
It's nothing like that, Ash.
Well, Ash is actually on Luke's side.
All we're saying is that maybe he might be able to do something about this.
Drop it, you guys. We're not leaving anyone here.
Just like that, their bickering begins anew. Bloody peasants. My head's already aching just listening to them. I think this is all the solution they can come up with. I should have just stabbed all of them and made a run for it. That actually would have been hilarious to see. It doesn't help that with each second we spend talking here, that gets crazier this whole place gets. The voices become louder and somehow sounding more vicious. If the things in this room start floating, mark my words, I will fucking flip out. And I may not be thinking of it right now, but eventually they'll turn on me. Such is the nature of humans. Better find one out of this place as soon as possible. If I want to stay alive. Look, I still have so much to do. Not if I choice to sing the sound, but who knows? You don't understand a shite about this place. Might as well try everything, whatever works. If I also have to be the one to make that bloody decision, so be it. Less room for errors. If only the sane one doing the thinking. On the off chance I'm wrong, well, they suggested it. I decide to make a save point. So, we're gonna go with the burn the letter option first. We know that's wrong, obviously, but let's go with this one. That's an easy decision to make. especially with these cries growing louder. I'm getting tired of it, really. I simply have to act fast, think fast, and what else is the root cause of our problems but that letter? No need to make things more complicated. Let's start from there, and why won't it end there? If what Minta said is true, then there's all the more reason to destroy it. Put an end to this madness before anyone can think of passing it on to someone else. Before the situation can stretch out far too long for my tastes, I snatch the blasted paper away.
Give me that.
For a second, she appears offended, until I take out Mum's lighter. The sight of it shuts them all up, but I have no need for their opinion. In the next moment, I'm already setting the letter on fire. And it doesn't take too long for the thing to catch fire. It's old, for heaven's sake. Though I make sure none of the ashes end up on anything flammable. It'll be an inferno inside its study, with all the books and documents stored here. Not that big flame's anything to worry about in this case. In fact, in a matter of minutes, the damn thing is turned to ashes on the floor. With nothing left to burn through, the fire dies, fades into thin air and a whiff of smoke, leaving only the awful scent of burnt paper in the room. But as the last of the paper turns into cinders, a sharp, agonized wail echoes from somewhere in the mansion, before quickly dying out, taking over the horror she has brought upon the mansion. Well, that was easy. Slowly before our eyes, the mansion changes again. Blood fading from the walls, ceilings, and the floor, returning the place to its old beauty. Gone is the darkness, quickly replaced by the artificial lights in the room. Even the smell of blood and gore has completely disappeared from the room. Perhaps the only thing undesirable left are the dumbfounded looks they're giving me.
See? Wasn't that easy? For fuck's sake, you people need to get your heads checked. How did you all make it this far in life with that kind of thinking? Well, you can all thank me later for this. You may now show yourselves out of my property before I call the police on you simpletons.
Well, that's quick. I walk out of the study without a single glance back at them, more than eager to finally get fresh air. They can find their way out of this place, I'm sure. I better not catch them again here, though, or I will not be happy. Outside, there's only silence. Deafening. Still. The same hush that comes after a terrible storm has swept the countryside. And with it, from the wide-open windows, the sight of the sun rising above the horizon. Ever so slowly, the sky begins to lighten before my eyes. Darkness giving way to the warm morning hues, soft rays spilling over the vast expanse of Luxporn's countryside. It's gonna be a jump scare I feel like coming up. Nearby, the trees sway and rustle with the breeze. A passing draft that carries even into this room from outside, cold enough to make me shiver. Remains of the storm that has passed. In the distance, I can hear the soft chirping of birds, while the rest of the world stirs, wakes. Dawn at last. We are free. Okay. For undisclosed reason to the public, the mansion is put back on the market months later. I wonder why. While Briar Realty Corporation faces criminal charges followed by one Luke Wright. So yeah, this mansion kind of has like a secret death dungeon below it. And that was not part of the contract. And also I had a killer ghost and murdering everybody. So like, we don't feel like this was properly represented. After the news of the lawsuit broke out and the realty company's declaration of bankruptcy, rumors quickly spread across Luxporn City. For those who still believe in the stories of the old and those who know the truth, it is but a testament to the curse and the secrets in the Ermengarde mansion has hidden for centuries. If there will come a time, those will finally be revealed. Only the hallowed halls of the mansion know. To this day, it stands silent. However, on nights when the wind howls and thunder booms across the sky, some still claim hearing of the voices within. Of cries and wails that fill the nights and desperate calls for help for anyone who dares listen. As for those who once tread its halls... Oh, look, they have a happy family. Despite their problems, Luke and Hannah Wright managed to salvage a 7-year marriage. Now without its fair challenges, of course, especially for Luke. But for the sake of their children, he tries. Although the man still fears fatherhood, afraid of becoming like his father was to him. However, with a little help from Hannah, he eventually comes around, especially when the twins are born. He's still far from being a good father. He thinks he will never be. There are parts of him that always remain unpleasant and will exasperate Hannah to no end. But even someone like him sees joy in this, in having a family. For the first time in a long while, he admits he's content. They're happy. Months after her recovery, Marianne McCullough heads back to her homeland, ready to close a chapter of the past she has left hanging for so long. There she visits Lorraine's grave, asking for forgiveness from the girl she once loved, something she has intentionally avoided for years. Although the terror of what she has witnessed inside the Ermengarde mansion still clings to her, she bravely chooses to move on from it, turning a new leaf by focusing on a new branch of her interior design company, and leaving her interior design company at Luxborn in the hands of her secretary instead. Although she never returns to the city after, she's frequently seen visiting to check on the people it has become acquainted with in her years there. Having finally accepted herself, she won't deny she's in a happier place now. Despite making the Ireland branch of her interior design company her focus now, Marianne continues to cater to the most avid patrons of Luxborn when requested. And after her work in the Ermengarde mansion, the Wright couple, particularly Hannah Wright, have never trusted another to handle the design of any other place they own. Upon moving to the new place after giving birth to hers and Luke's children, Marianne's name is the first thing she calls, while the woman is quick to fly back to the city at the socialite summons. Not only helping with the decorations of their new place, but also assisting with the renovations, much to Hannah's delight. No more haunted mansions this time, okay? Since then, the two women have kept a close friendship. Often they can be seen going around town together. When Marianne's in town, and Hannah can be heard recommending the designer to her peers during parties. In the city, often keeping an ear out for any gossip, one can't deny that both women have found a confidant in the other. With help from family and friends, Zachary Steele is soon able to open a photography studio of his own, something he has only dreamed of having as a child. Although he still hopes to get back into making indie films someday, client work and his small projects have kept him mostly busy. Hectic as it may be, he can only be glad for the amount of work pouring in. It's made moving on from the incident in Ermengarde mansion easier, if not faster. But while there's still nightmares, with support from his family, his doctor, and his own drive, the dark images have finally turned into pleasant dreams. He's aware he won't ever truly forget, but he's no longer running away. At times when he's not busy or after a hard day's work, he thinks there's another story for the big screen to be told in that. And an idea he may soon turn to reality once his time affords it. In the months that follow, Rebecca Gales becomes a prominent researcher within Luxborn's major academic circles, especially after writing that she has discovered about Anselm Village and the Ermengarde mansion. With help from Professor Andrew Clark, she is soon able to secure funding to continue her research, presenting her findings yearly at local and international symposiums. Now at the tail end of her current study, she hopes to publish her first book, correcting all inaccuracies in the city's current history. A move supported by both colleagues, students, and friends alike. Though she knows she still has a long way to go before she can even begin to change people's minds about it, Professor Clark has warned her as much. She perseveres. Doing not for herself, but for the sake of a history the future generations must never forget. No matter how disturbing her experience with the curse may have been, she remains the worrywart she has always been. Even after what she has seen, she continues to fret over people she cares about, sometimes much to their frustration or embarrassment. But if there's one thing that has shifted, it's her relationship with the people in their little group, particularly with Zachary Steele. In fact, on numerous occasions, she has been spotted dropping by his new studio, bringing the man food on days when he's swamped with work. They also seem to have grown more comfortable around each other than before. Maybe it's born out of their shared experience, or maybe the way they see each other has simply changed naturally due to the years they've known each other. Regardless of the whys, it's a change the man welcomes and appreciates. In turn, he strives to return her kind gestures whenever he can. For all the horrors they've seen, who would have thought something good will come of it? Things have inevitably become strained between Ashton Frey and Rebecca Gales, in the months following her confession and the man's eventual rejection. Ash looks a little bit better right now, like an actual cop somewhat. And with their new work and lives getting busier, the two eventually had drifted apart. Though neither talks about it and the teacher still strives to forget an old flame, it's clear in Rebecca that there's still lingering feelings of bitterness left. If anything, however, this has only made it obvious how much has changed between them, and how much she has clung to the idea of Ashton from their younger days, the one that may have not been there in the first place. Really an idea for a starry-eyed young girl. But there will be a time she'll be able to accept this, to move on from the hurt and repair an old friendship that's fallen to ruin. Only she knows. With her newfound courage, Isabella Santos finally chooses to pursue what she really wants for herself. Having made enough to keep her family afloat for a few years, and with their blessing, she quits her job at Briar Realty Corporation and takes a scholarship offer from a local university. Though remarkably out of practice and unsure if she'll be able to keep up by the time she returns to university, she finds her feet soon enough with help from people close to her. And with her confidence and her skills growing, so do the number of people recognizing her and her work. It doesn't take long for several award-giving bodies to take notice of her. And for all her accomplishments, however, she has never truly forgotten what happened at the Ermengarde mansion. The images still remain in her, and on particularly unpleasant nights, terrors continue to visit her dreams. She knows though it won't ever disappear from her life. It's become a part of her in the same way death is permanently taken from her. However, she's no longer afraid. And with a brave face, she carries on, earnestly wishing that someday she'll be able to paint brighter, more vivid thoughts on her canvas. An honest portrayal of life and hope in the midst of fear. Shortly after accepting the scholarship grant from Luxembourg University, Isabella moves from Salmo residences to favor staying in a dorm close to her campus. Isabella looks a lot better. In fact, everyone looks kind of a lot better now they have like actual other outfits. Although Rebecca Gill is quick to offer assistance for a move, she does admit she will be missing her neighbor for more than 5 years. When all is said and done, she's become fond of the girl over the years. And with their shared experience over the curse, they have only grown closer. Isabella leaves with a promise to visit every once in a while. And even though she still jokingly complains about Rebecca's bossy attitude, she confesses that she also misses the woman's fussing. After all, in a place miles away from her real family, Rebecca is still the closest thing she has to a sister. More than a year later, once everything in their respective lives have settled, Zachary Steele and Isabella Santos finally hold their exhibit together. A project that's been in the making for almost 2 years after the photographer casually brought it up to the other artists. While merely intended as a small event, well, there's a lot of epilogues here because everyone lived, it's been surprisingly attended by several members of the Luxembourg upper class and art enthusiasts. Although only a few of the pieces have been meant for sale, the show has brought prominence to Zachary and Isabella's names in the city's art scene. It has since been followed by several other exhibits by the two, both in and out of the city. Currently, they are planning to hold their first show overseas. Yet even with this unexpected overwhelming fame, friendship between the two has remained strong. Theirs, after all, is a bond that goes beyond being mere partners in a small project. He's her family as much as she is his. While she's aware she has plenty of ways to go, getting back to school has also opened a lot of opportunities for Isabella. Now there's Marianne. At times, part-time work has started to come in droves, and she is able to support herself financially through her art alone. Something she has only dreamed of as a child. And when clients are generous enough, she's able to send money back home, as well despite her family's reassurances. One such client is Marianne McCullough's interior design company, who frequently commissions her for her murals after the woman has learned of her skill. Though at times she finds it difficult to keep up with interior designer's standard for quality, it's a job and a challenge she's only too happy to accept, if it means doing what she loves. A pill and then we'll cup. Following his success in bringing several major cases to a close, Ashton Free received a recommendation for transfer to Luxembourg's lead agency against organized crimes. Really, everyone just looks better at character design wise right now. Like Ash looks better, Isabella looks better, Marianne looks better. An endorsement eagerly backed by the newly appointed successor to late Chief Inspector Lee Abigail Harris. Knowing he'll have more resources, Lee will have a bigger chance of ultimately bringing Luke right to justice, Ashton Free accepts. Luke's over here like reforming himself with kids, and Ash is like, I gotta bust this guy. He's still a dick. I gotta bust him. He's murdered people. He still warns people close to him against Wright and his associates, but only a friendly reminder now more than anything. Though he does worry, he believes they are wise enough to know what they are doing and trust their judgment. But now he has decided to leave the evidence and the law to speak for itself and take care of the man once the proper time comes. Nowadays, police work and operations keep him busy, sometimes taking him away from the city he grew up in for days on end. A rare thing for him to enjoy once upon a time, yet this time he never loses his drive. Simply growing more determined after having finally found a clear purpose that close to the rush and excitement he dreamed of as a child. Although Ashton still keeps mum about specific details of his work, his experience of the curse has slowly taught him to open up. Especially to those he knows that genuinely care for him. He still has a long way to go, he knows that, but for the sake of the people who are still with him, those who have chosen to stay, he hopes that there will come a day when he no longer has to hide behind his own lies. A day when he's no longer afraid of facing the truth in his own words. See, look, I think Ash looks honestly a lot better. He actually looks kinda like a detective now. On his days off, Ashton is usually seen loitering around Zachary Steele's studio, either to help him out on his pet projects or exasperating the other man on purpose. Either or, it's mostly the latter. As there are times he'll volunteer to model for one of Zach's projects, despite the photographer's reassurance that it's not needed. Regardless, Ashton insists, before complaining how meticulous the whole process is, hours later to Zach's utter amusement. Though sometimes they may get into small trivial arguments, things have stayed cordial between the two. If anything, the ordeal they've both gone through has merely strengthened a friendship the detective didn't expect to find in anyone. After a bit of fumbling of a few missteps here and there, and moments of briefly allowing their uncertainties to hang over them, Ashton Frey and Isabella Santos finally finds a rhythm. Theirs isn't a soaring love story by any means, nor is it happily ever after, often told in picture books the girl has only dreamed of having in childhood. Far from it, in fact. Despite what people glimpse their eyes or glean in their gestures, they both know better than to cling to ideals. A stranger will say they're in love, hopelessly, genuinely, and there's certainly the truth in it when only asked to look. However, what they never see is this. Beyond the soft smiles, fleeting glances, and gentle touches only meant for the other, is a grief, a terror that never seems to lift, constantly filling their nights with echoes of an unforgiving wail and unwelcome dreams that stirs either awake in the darkest hours of dawn. It has never truly left them, and it never will. In the same way the light scar on Ashton's hand will never fully heal, or the horrid images in Isabella's mind will ever fade. But they cope. In hushed whispers and tender reassurances, with light kisses and long embraces. When that no longer suffices, when the horrors become too much for them to bear, they have each other. And warmth to hold on to in the coldest of nights. And for them, it's more than enough.
Look, this isn't the time!
Well, what are you simpletons waiting for?
How many of these things do you keep in this house?
I always have a few bottles in the bedroom, you know, the parlor and the dining room.
You have problems, man.
Well, isn't this the time to discuss them?
No, please. Help me. Help me, please.
Where the fuck did everyone go?
There were two, weren't there? Shorkin had two blokes posted to stand guard for the night. I might be panicking for a bit earlier, but I'm quite sure I haven't gotten delusional yet. What, did both of them decide to take a break? Because they think the master's already sound asleep and won't be looking for them.
Damn nitwits!
I know assassinations happen very rarely these days, and even less in a peaceful city like Luxborn, but bollocks! There's been a woman going in and out of this place uninvited, who may not want to put a knife in my back. Isn't that enough reason to stay on alert? I'm fairly certain Shorkin won't just enlist her help just for this power outage, only to leave me unprotected. We have a difficult friendship, so to speak. I doubt that man is an opportunist. I'm only the lives of his family in my hands, after all. He knows what I'm capable of doing. He's not stupid enough to do anything that'll endanger them and save only himself. So where, then? Only my footsteps echo along the dark passage, and I am left gripping the handle of my pistol for some sort of comfort. Without proper lighting, with the storm still raging outside, the stories I've heard about this place seem to have some truth to it. Some. If I'm reaching and wish to entertain myself for a bit, I'll say there might be also ghosts whispering in my ears, calling. Of course, it's just the wind and the trees rustling outside. Nothing good will come of allowing these thoughts to linger when problems are piling up in front of me one after another. Especially with what greets me once I get to the foyer. Though it's dark, the large windows illuminate the area much more easily than any of the other rooms. If I stand on top of the stairs, I can easily make out their forms. Recognize them even. It's all gone crazy when these intruders come into my house. I'm no stranger to a cop playing dirty. The smart ones knew that I would neither life nor criminals were going to play fair. But Lily, the estate agent, she doesn't seem the sort. And Daisy, too. What will Kylie think of Ms. Pink if poor Tyke finds out about this? To top it all off, they'll have the nerve to look surprised when I announce my presence.
Well, well, what have we here? If I were any less sober, I'd say this is the beginning of a joke.
Bloody trespassers. What is wrong with these people? Did they really think I'll be fine with them walking to my home like this? What are they even doing in here? If I know any better, they might also be behind Hana's disappearance.
That's right, my love.
Kill them all! They must have a motive.
Make them pay
They better be a good one.
for all the wrong made to us.
Or a bullet to the head is at least all of them will deserve.
Let's see. A photographer, a high school teacher, and a real estate agent walk into a mansion.
But where's the dog? I guess Ash is the Scooby-Doo of the group. Thunder crackles once again, cutting me off. This time it sounds, it's close enough to that it nearly feels as if the windows in the ground itself are rumbling. All is definitely still for a moment. I don't let it stop me, however, as I slowly make my way towards them, taking one careful step at a time, relishing the expression of fear in their eyes. I suppose there's something ominous in this setting, the heavy rain outside and the lack of light here. I kinda like it, to be honest. Add something to the atmosphere. I suppose I must look like the villain now. But short of me getting close to them, a noise to my left distracts me, briefly halting my movements while curiosity takes over every murmurs in my head. That's a good thing, perhaps, that I did, because as soon as I look up, I see him. Another trespasser. Great. Just as he's about to jump down from the furniture, I somehow end up piled and blocking the door to the parlor. What happened there? Did you really think it's alright to do that to other people's houses? Loud.
Teach him, my lord. Put him in his place.
My hand's already moving before any rationale can stop me. Fingers firm at my gun when I finally release the safety from it and take aim. Not at him, but at his friends. They are his, aren't they? Why else would they be here together? Doesn't matter. He won't let the people he cares about be harmed. My finger on the trigger is more than itching to shoot, but I hold back. Sure, I could have simply taken aim at him. But more than seeing him bleed, I want to see his expression on his face once he realizes everything he's doing is futile. He's trapped. Lives are in my hand. His life's in my hand.
Had I known there would be a party in my own home tonight, I would have opened a bloody bottle or two. People these days, in my own home, can you believe it? I feel so left out.
I can tell the exact moment the realization dawns on him. A short second of his body freezing and blood draining from his face, as soon as his feet hit the floor and he looks up. He's already a prey trapped by his own recklessness.
Pathetic.
Be quiet, this is my show.
And really, Daisy, even you, what would Kylie say?
Luke, this isn't what you're thinking. You have to listen to us. There's something going on here.
Well, obviously, why else would people be trespassing in my home? What about little Lily over there, then? What's your excuse? Checking back if your clients are doing okay? Is that it? Is this what this is?
I'll say it again, like he said this last time. Yes, that's exactly what this is.
Sir, please.
Oh, please what?
Becca's right, sir. We need to get out of this place. You need to leave.
Tut, not a good enough excuse, darling. You people are the ones who need to get out of my sight. Don't worry, I might consider pressing lighter charges for the woman. Can't say the same for the rest of you. But really now, I swear the people of this city need to be taught the meaning of privacy. This is how you want to start the week. Why don't we just go with a bloody massacre if we want to surprise people in their homes, huh?
It's just a passing remark, of course. I'm not stupid enough to do something that'll bring negative attention to myself. Reputation and all that, I just can't risk it. The thought of having more dead bodies here, it's already quite too much. It'll literally be overkill, especially for someone like me. Nevertheless, joke or not, Feathers wastes no time drawing his own gun to the side wave of my own. Even if he knows it's already too late. Still, he glares at me. Still, he fights back.
Now, Feathers. Manners. You're in no position to be pointing that gun at people.
There's no desperation in him like I'm hoping. Just an annoyance flickering shortly before being hit underneath a challenge. The likes of him are the kind of people I hate the most. Even if their failure is already glaring down at them, mocking every worthless move they make. They have the impudence to stare people in the eye.
Why don't you put yours down first, and then we'll talk about manners.
Oh, he talked back. The gall! You know, your kind pisses me off so much.
Annoying most of the time. Like a damn pest you can't be rid of. But to some degree it is commendable. I'll give him that. After all, we're almost the same in that regard. Almost. I'm still the better person, of course. He tells me to put the gun down, but I see no reason why I should. I'm a homeowner. In defense of my own home. I have the right to, I like to think. Questionable primitive firearms aside. It's not like I wanted this. But I'm already high-strung and their presence does not help. Bloody peasants. I can never seem to figure out how their minds fully work. And I should have also expected he won't let this end in this kind of standstill.
Sorry about this. I really don't have time for you.
A short lapse, it's all it is. One moment to lay my guard down. Before I can react, he fires 2 shots in quick succession. A sound crackling from the empty foyer almost as loud as the storm raging outside, breaking a tense air in the room. Pain explodes in my wrist, 2 seconds later. Just a graze. However, it is enough to cause my fingers so tense and the pistol slides to the floor of a dull thud.
Why, you insolent!
The next moments happen in a blur. In the following second, I am being tackled bodily to the ground, backing the cold floor hard and an arm pinning me down by the neck. There's a fleeting minute of panic and struggle while I try to untangle myself from him before he manages to knock me out. And then, a scream. A wail piercing through the thick air. Shrill and sharp enough for the both of us to cover our ears and hunker down on our knees. With each sharp note beating harshly against my head are the images again. Faces and voices so utterly unfamiliar, seeping into every crevice, getting sinister with each shift. They are not mine, but they might as well be with how vivid and crisp they appear. Over and over they all flash behind my eyes until it becomes unbearable. Pounding, throbbing, putting against my skull. Worse than any headache a hangover can give. Bloody, I'll take a hangover of this any day. A haze begins to fill my vision as black spots dance around the corners of my eyes. Beside me, the detective suddenly moves, shouting a name I don't quite hear, and then... The next second he falls, down on one knee, desperately trying to keep himself up with the strength he has left. But eventually his own body caves in. Taking the horrified Lily down with him, butting quietly to her, something distinctly red flows from his body. Blood. This man isn't supposed to be dead yet. He isn't supposed to... I didn't shoot him. I'm sure of it. So what killed him? What in the bloody blazes is going on here? Is it so wrong to just want a quiet night where nothing needs attending to? Just one normal night. Quickly, everything has turned crazy with perilous happenings that are hard to explain. But it seems that, when it comes to me, death is always around the corner. I want to look him over. This is going to cause more problems. All this screaming and crying for a detective who's died for no apparent reason is giving me a migraine. I need to get all these people out of my house one way or the other. They're going to stay in the sheets. But the blurry mess of my vision, none of these registers enough to compel my body to move. Nothing does. Except for the voice unexpectedly ringing above the discord. When I finally gather the strength to look up, everything falls away into the background. All that matters is her.
I told you, didn't I? Everything you're doing is useless, Ashton Frey.
You know an awful thing, Ashton Frey.
And now, you're dying. Meddlesome fool.
Hannah? You're not supposed to be here.
For a moment I wonder if it had been me who had died and not her. After all, that can be the only logical explanation as to why I can hardly draw breath while she stands there. Of course, another logical explanation would be that I'm high and this is really a really bad trip. Either reason doesn't suit me. Though it can't very well be the former. Even from down here I can see the blood that stains her dress. Seeing that makes me feel as if my hands are covered in them once more. Warm and sticky, sweet and sickly.
Oh, Luke, darling, my love. You look so upset. Are you not happy to see me?
But let's be honest here. Any explanation, any reason as to why a dead woman walks once more is a bad one to me. Especially when it's one I've had to have killed. I mean, how even...
How can this be? You're...
Do you not find my presence desirable anymore, my love?
What sort of sick joke is this?
Tell me what's wrong, my dear prince. Does my presence leave you so speechless?
She says with a smile on her face, stiff and forced. A dead body's parts doesn't seem as malleable as they would be in a living human. She takes a step forward and her movements are stiff and choppy. Like a corpse being forced into position despite the rigor mortis. Like the corpse that she should be. I find my voice once more when she takes a careful step forward. Just the thought of that thing approaching me just makes my skin crawl. She stops to listen, fixated on my voice and on my words.
No, you're not. You're not supposed to be here. You can't be here. You're dead.
The "I killed you" is left unsaid, considering present company.
And I have returned. For you. You don't have to do this. You can still have it all, Luke. Just please. Don't you love me? We would have been so beautiful.
I can still hear her pleas as she begs me not to be rid of her. Not once have I forgotten this particular crime of my own. No matter how much I wash my hands, I can still see her blood on them. She's dead. That's an irrefutable fact, and nothing short of the devil would bring her back.
Why are you acting this way, my love? Does this not make you happy?
I feel like there's something lodged in my throat. My heart feels like it's being sat on with how tight my chest feels.
Of course I'm happy to see you again, Hana. Of course I love you, Hana, but...
Luke's getting a lot more dialogue here.
How do I know you're... How do I know you're you, darling?
Whatever do you mean? You look perturbed. Why not come here? I can make you feel better.
Yeah, I doubt that. If by the act of some malevolent god she was back, I don't think she would take too kindly to what I had done to her. This certainly isn't what I would expect. Not the fixated gaze or these loving words. There is no accusation in them, no anger, when Hana has every right to look at me so. My guilt is overshadowed by the oddity of these illogical circumstances.
No, stay where you are, stay back! Don't go near me! Don't touch me!
It is that rejection which turns her expression absolutely fearsome, and everything turns to complete and utter shite. Hana's body shudders and shakes, as if she's about to have a seizure, till her visage ripples and changes. Golden yellow hair is slowly stained with inky black, and her face melts into that of the woman, the maid from before, with a menacing expression on her face. Let's go, Power Rangers. Along with it is a shifting of the very ground we stand on. Look, they're even different colors. It's a slow thing, a whisper more than a bang as the darkness creeps into every corner of the room. The walls shudder and groan. Blood runs from the ceiling, crawls down the walls and stains the floor. Yep, that's about 200% ghost right there. It feels as if life itself is being sucked from the house slowly but surely. The beauty of the place is gone, with only the dead, decaying remains of a mansion left in its wake. And I have to wonder if it's just the foyer that's become this nightmarish place. I can already hear it. Gone are the growling of the thunder and the lashings of the rain and wind against the foyer's high windows. All of it has been replaced by a more grating sound. Like a symphony of voices from nowhere and everywhere echoing throughout the now heard walls. Voice that I've neither belonged to us nor the people who live here.
What's going on?
Help! Please!
All throughout the house, shouts of alarm and surprise ring out. A mirror to the horror creeping up in each of us. Where is Ash's body? Who wouldn't be shocked? This is insane. Even Daisy, feisty woman that she is, trembles at the sight of it. Clinging desperately to Lily, even Steel, who stands proactively in the front of the two. Do it, Zach. Punch the ghost. I suppose it only makes sense for the men to take on that role when their friend is gone. Something to hold on to when there seems to be no end in sight to this insanity. If anything, this only feels like it's the beginning of the end.
Help me! Oh my god! Please, somebody! Anybody! Who are you? Stay away!
No. Stay away! Stay away!
Mother of God, pray for us sinners.
I'm sorry.
Her screams fill the mansion. She laughs all the while, a harsh, agonizing sound that goes on for what feels like forever. Till there's nothing but silence, her horrid smile and the pale hands reaching out to me. Calling, beckoning, pleading. I'm terrified, I really am. Like I should be, but I have never been one to be truly stay afraid. I've long learned that fear will not get me anywhere. Cowering in a corner doesn't keep me safe, it will not keep me alive. Not like rage does. I've learned to use this burning heat inside me to survive. There's no difference now.
Stay away from me!
Why do you wish to leave? This is where you belong, my lord.
Because you're an undead ghost and there's blood bleeding on the walls. So yeah, we're gonna leave.
Remember the blood you've shed. The very same one that now taints this house, along with many others.
I did not do this, you lie! I did nothing!
What of her then? Your wife, your sunshine. Doesn't her blood already stain these halls? Stain your hands?
Then, Hannah's really... You're the one who... You killed her. Your own wife!
She's lying!
Listen, this is not a court trial right now. It's 100%, I mean 200% ghost in here. Let's just get out of here. The words sound so familiar. Just a few days ago, I've spotted the same ones that vile woman who ruined everything. They went for that munter, that harlot. But it's no use. That seed has already been planted in their hands. Defending myself, especially against the likes of him, is pointless. Bloody hell, even Daisy's not looking at me with some of the same revolting stares people have given me once they know my dirt.
So it's true then? With Hannah? Hannah, Luke?
I don't know what she's talking about. Are you that gullible, Daisy? Do you really believe the words of a murderer? She killed your friend over there.
Now you deny it. Pointing fingers, aren't we?
This is now Phoenix Wright Ghost Edition.
You see, my love, no difference. No difference, you and I. Just like the rest of us. Just like every single soul in this putrid wreck. We've waited for so long. You can hear them, yes? Their pleas, their calls, their invitation. Come, my lord. The house seeks its master.
The monster reaches out again. Her hands a gory, abhorrent sight, along with that smile spread across her face. My body's already moving on instinct, stumbling back, one step at a time in a desperate bid to be away from her. Having to put distance between me and this vile creature. No, what she says, I am nothing like her. I need to get out of this house. Out of this country, preferably. There's nothing for me here. Not anymore. Everything keeps tied to this place. With Hannah gone, Shorkin likely is taken by this woman as well. Nothing's left to bind me to this wretched city. I can leave. I can... My foot steps on something, sending me sliding down my back and flat on the floor. Beside me, a paper familiar one flutters down. It's this thing again, in the open house. It feels less like a gimmick and more like a threat for the recent events. Must have fallen for the detective in the commotion earlier. Over its own having died at a gruesome death, now it simply bears its equally gruesome message for everyone in the room to see. Help me. Help me. Help me. Is this it? What they've been telling us? Why everything in my life has gone to shite? Because of some stupid old letter? An invitation indeed. One I am not willing to accept. Not any time. From the top of the stairs, the creature moves again, drawing my attention back to her. Her gait remains slow and awkward as she walks forward, that smile never leaving her. But I won't give her the chance. I am not dying here. Adrenaline kicks in, and despite panicked gasps and worried glances from Daisy's friends, I pay them no mind as I reach for the main door. Without warning, the door slams open, revealing not the mansion grounds like I am expecting. Before my mind can even comprehend what's happening, black tendrils have already coiled tightly around my limbs, dragging every person in the foyer into the room. None of us even get to scream, when darkness completely envelops us upon the doors closing.
Understand where your place is now, my love.
Has this kind of become the school from Corpse Party at this point?
You belong here. Is it so difficult to grasp? We've been waiting.
There's a moment of panic when the feeling of the tendrils on my limbs finally dissipates. As soon as my eyes adjust to the darkness of the room and I'm on my feet, I'm reaching for my knife and holding it out, watching, waiting for every movement, using it as a way to put distance between me and these peasants. Who knows what they'll do to me, now that they know what I've done. I'm pretty sure they're working some of the blood out of the walls. There's only 4 of us in this room, 3 of them, friends at that, and only me. I cannot trust these people not to turn on me. I cannot trust anyone. Not anymore. Not after this. Despite the bleeding lily look shoots my way while they all huddle in the corner behind the steel, I have to remind myself that even people like her are capable of doing the unpleasant. She's only human after all. It's never an excuse why, Even Hana has her cunning, manipulative moments, though she does it much subtler than I. Why else would Lily show this letter to us that day if not to save herself? I guess that backfired on her now that she and her own friends are also stuck here. Still, I have every right to be livid. Everything that I've built has fallen apart. My wife, my children. All because these people came into our lives.
You three, all of you! This is all your fault! If I've died to this bloody case, I'm taking you all down with me!
Punch him, Zach. Punch him.
Now, Mr. Wright. I know the situation ain't good, but we have to calm down.
Punch him, Zach.
We're all in the same boat here.
You shut your mouth! If it weren't for you, or this letter, for all of you, none of this would have happened! Hana would still be...
Damn, Daisy. And Rebecca. Suddenly Daisy steps up and slaps the knife away from my hand.
Don't you dare, Luke! Don't you dare put that blame on us!
Without batting an eye, glaring at me if she might just rip my head off in this instant. Said knife slides uselessly under the table out of my reach. I should have expected she's not the kind of submit even under threat.
Last I checked, we're not the one whose hands have been stained with his wife's own blood!
And what about your friend over there? Are you saying she is responsible for this mess? For the lives this sordid letter took? Dragging other people into her own problems just so she could save her little sorry self? You think I haven't seen that before? Getting real tired of your double standards, Daisy!
You know this curse is an entirely different issue from what you've done, Luke. Because, knowing you, I don't doubt that even without that blasted letter, you would have eventually...
Rebecca, stop! All of you stop this!
Yeah, it's 200% ghost in here. We all need to all relax. You hear Lily speak out loud. I can't say I'm not surprised. She's always given me the impression of someone so meek from the moment I met her, either from her inexperience or her station in life. She's never struck me as someone fitting to be a real estate agent. If anything, that meltdown she had during the open house had only proven my assumptions. Until now. Quietly, she puts herself between me and Daisy, cutting whatever scathing words we've yet to hurl at each other. The way she glares at me. It reminds me a little of the way my own mom would look at me, particularly when I've done something wrong. It's not a stare she's unused to showing. She has done this before, probably to a younger sibling. Huh. If she only sees us now as a pair of squabbling kids and not two mature adults, well, that's only to be expected. No doubt that's how she sees us. For a long moment there was only silence in the room. Still, the big oaf doesn't even dare break it, really watching the three of us behind two women who he towers over significantly. Too soft. Not that it matters when Lily starts speaking again, after some of the anger and tension had lifted from the room.
Stop this, please! With or without that damn piece of paper, we...
A deep breath. An exhale. And she closes her eyes, a crease forming between her eyebrows while she grips her hand tightly in front of her.
We still would have ended up in this mess.
Yeah, just going in the house, we're doomed. The atmosphere that descends into the room and after that, admission is anything but pleasant. Plus the ghost has taken like side casualties on its way. And I called that an admission. It seems like it's away from the air. Her eyes nervously flick between her friends and I. She appears to know more than she lets on, and how she makes herself appear smaller after dropping that bomb on us doesn't sit quite well with me. Impatience is something I don't have the luxury of having right now and bestowing upon other people. What else does this girl know? What else is she not telling us? Because when it looks at this, even her friend has no idea what she's talking about. Unwilling to wait, I grab her arm before she retreats over explanation, leaving the lever still in my hand in front of her.
Ow! Sir, you're hurting me!
Luke, will you stop taking it out on every single person?
Your friend is hiding something, Daisy.
She struggles for a moment. My hold eventually forces her to look up at me. Fear and uncertainty spreads across her features, especially when her eyes land on the damn paper. As much as I want to be considered right now, I want answers.
What do you mean, Lily?
I'm not sure about it.
Don't give me that, you know something!
Ow! Please, sir! I know the paper's useless, okay? Those people they mentioned in the news lately, all those who died, my co-workers, the open house clients, none of them had seen it, even Rose. And yet they're all dead. I should know, sir. That letter has been with me since I picked it up. And I swear I didn't make copies of this thing. Even if I wanted to save myself, I wouldn't do that to my friends. or anyone.
Pretty sure the ghost just doesn't have any rules. It's just like, hey, you get in my way, you visit my house, you disrespect my property, you cut me in line when I'm at the fast food joint in the drive-thru. Yeah, you're going down.
And yet we're all here! Are you taking me for a fool, Lily?
We would have ended up here either way. Maybe? I really don't know. Sir, please. All I know is that paper isn't the reason why all of this is happening. There's something else that...
This place.
Steele has been quiet this entire time. At the sound of him talking, however whispered it is, still manages to catch us all off guard. We all pause, turning to him with likely the same questions in our eyes.
What?
I mean, I just remembered something a friend told me. You know, stuff about ghosts or curses. You probably don't want to hear it.
Do we just burn down the house?
No! It might be something! What about this place, Zach? Maybe it's also the reason why Ash went here.
There's still a moment of hesitation in him, but the mention of their dead friend appears enough reason to spur him to the speaking.
Remember what I told you the last time you and Ash visited? A few days ago?
A pause, while he allows Lily to remember. Soon enough, whatever it is dawns on her, and her face lights up with something like hope. Of all things, in this nightmare, hope. Her head snaps up and she reaches for Steele's arm to give it a squeeze. A reassurance or confirmation. The meaning is lost even to Daisy, who glances at them baffled.
Belle, what are you...
Becca, it's this place. Think about it.
Then they proceed to tell some ridiculous narrative about the supernatural. Stories about ghosts, legends, curses born out of great anger and pain, and whatever else people use to scare children. Not that I believe any of it, as if knowing will help. Bunch of loons, these people. Officially off their rockers. To think I'll be stuck in this nightmare with people like them. What did I ever do to the world? Everything. Of course, it's all absurd until...
I think it's just like what the professor guy said. Just like that old story. This mansion and some other thing might be keeping her here. You know, something he wanted in life, but never got to have. Something like that.
Or maybe it's not something, Zachary.
Someone. Hey, why are you all looking at me? I mean, Luke. The who doesn't have to be uttered out loud. There's only one person in this room who that woman calls after. Every single one of them has heard it. Bloody hell, it's in reluctant shift in Daisy's eyes when they flicker over to me, only briefly. She's also holding information on her own. Or perhaps a realization she just had. Doesn't matter. I know when people slowly start to turn on me. How do they think I last in this cutthroat world? Betray them before they do the same thing to you. Put a knife in their back before they can act. Kill or be killed. Survival in a nutshell. Why did they think I put Hannah out of the picture before she can cry for help and ruin everything? What now? Are they gonna throw me at the creature? See what happens to save themselves. I am no fool.
No. You're all in on this, aren't you? Of course! Of fucking course!
Luke, that isn't what I...
My hands are already on the door, pushing it open before she finishes. Betrayal or not, this isn't anything new. They may not be thinking of it right now, but eventually, trapped in this nightmare, the first thing to do is put distance between us, before a plan even hatches in their minds. There's 3 of them, only 1 of me. I have to get out of here, find an exit to this place or a way to get rid of each of them. But karma, the damn thing, seems to be at work here. Because when the door swings open and I barrel into the next room, it's only a reminder of the blood I've shed. Of her. Of them.
You don't have to do this. You can still have it all, Luke.
Oh god.
Just please. Don't you love me?
It's not only her sobs that I hear, but his. Hers. Theirs. I'll never know now, will I, what kind of life I will have lived with them. If I'll ever be a father better than my own. But I suppose I have my answer now. I killed them, after all. It's her blood that stains my hand in this room.
We would have been so beautiful.
By my own doing, I've ended all of it, even before anything has begun. Now their blood drips from every wall, pulling at every inch of the floor, leaving a sorry mess at the hem of my pants with every step I take into the room. Like the cold, suffocating embrace of my sins, the dread from the sight creeps up my limbs. Slow and unhurried, twisting and turning. Up and up it goes, until nothing but a sharp guttural cry escapes from my mouth and a realization. It hit me like a gut punch, sending my knees buckling and the rest of me sprawling. Behind me, Daisy shouts, a worried cry, running into the room and placing a comforting hand on my shoulder. Following after her are Lily and Steela, lingering by the doorway to that room. Hana's little nursery. Or at least it's supposed to be one, until things in this place have gone haywire. I can't even bring myself to look at it.
Are you alright? You vampot. Don't just run off like that. We don't know what's going on in this house.
But the sharp timbre always present in her tone pales in comparison to the every voice ringing in my ears, along with Hana's and the distinct cry of babies somewhere. How many people have died here, I wonder? How many of them are still trapped in here? Because it isn't just that creature's murmurs and pleas that I hear. It isn't just my wife's or the life she carried in here, but hundreds, thousands of them. Not that it matters now, when I know I've also doomed Hana and my own children to this nightmare. Somehow, out of everything, it's the thought of them trapped in here that sets me on the edge, sends my stomach churning and the bile rising up my throat. Then slowly, a laughter. I also laughed back then, didn't I? The moment my eyes have seen one that's been in that room. Days later, Shurkin asked if I'm happy. That bastard. I suppose I have a clear answer now. There's no happiness in this. Despite the chuckles and the giggles spilling forth, there's only a hollow void.
Don't deserve them, Daisy! Any of them!
And there's only one way to fix this. This isn't how things are supposed to end. Not like this. Not for me. Not after everything I built for myself. What kind of bullshit is this in the first place? That I'm doomed to die. Me, the great Luke Wright. After surviving a shithole of a childhood, I'm going to die being a self-sacrificing idiot. Like hell. There might not be happiness in this, but when it has stopped me before. When has killing someone did? When has dirtying my hands with the blood of people getting in my way did? Money, power, I want it all, and if it warrants a life, then so be it. In the end, Hana and Unborn are nothing but another addition to the list of people I've sacrificed to get what I want. This. Them.
You don't need them.
That's right. They are nothing. I only need myself to survive. Kill or be killed. This is the kind of world we live in. Ruthless, cruel, unforgiving. It's what Damien Wright had taught me. It's what life has taught me. It's about time people like them learn. It's just a pity they have to go through it the hard way. They had the chance earlier. They've given it up. It's only right that I take what they've abandoned for myself. Too soft. They are too soft. Even Daisy, for all the feisty attitude she brings with her. She merely gives me a baffled look when I push myself up on the floor, staring at me with only a slew of questions in her eyes as I slowly back away from the room. It doesn't even occur to them. Poor little things. Idiots.
Luke, what are you?
Not until I'm already at the door and pushing it open. Only then does the dread and fear set in their faces. Expressions I know too well. All from the people who has met the business end of my knife or gun. Or both. Hana had something similar on her face when she croaked. Funny how in death we're all the same.
I'd really love to stay and chat with all of you. What with two lovely ladies here, but I'm afraid I have business to attend to. A shame, isn't it?
You bloody bastard!
Her warning comes a little too late. The sound of the door slamming and locking behind me cuts her off. I'm assuming this is very much the Luke ending. The most Lukish of endings. Not that I care. From inside I can only hear their panic, but I don't stay. The mansion has calmed down. In fact, it seems to have done so for me, like a praise for a job well done. And maybe I do deserve it. Not many has the guts to deny 3 people their lives in one go. The terror in their voices filtering through the door. It's all too entertaining to hear. When was the last time I've done such? Certainly not after my marriage to Hana. But why should I waste time listening here? Like I've told them, I have things to do. I'm a busy man. Quickly I make a break for it, before one of them decides to bring the doors down. And sure enough, right when I reach the bottom of the stairs, the main door is almost in arm's reach. A crash echoes from the upstairs, followed by hurried footsteps and curses, vivid, colorful ones spilling one after another from their mouths. The mothers would have been proud. Becca, he's gone. Where?
That fucking ballbag! How dare he! If I get my hands on him!
Guys, he's already downstairs!
If only their feet are as fast as their mouths, I might give them bonus points for trying. But alas, we may all end up in the same place after death. But getting there will never be the same for all of us. For me, this hellhole is definitely not where I'm snuffing it, and I'll damn make sure of it. Even if it means sacrificing a few useless nitwits. Oh my god. This ending. Their fists pound hard against the door when they finally reach it. Pushing, pulling, trying to punch the bloody thing open with all their might. Yelling at the top of their lungs, begging even in a futile attempt to get me to open it. It's useless, however, for them. These doors won't open once locked without a key. Why should I let them? I'm not an idiot. A betrayal of this kind? Well, what I tell people stepping in the backwards to turn around and give them an opening? Only you matter, my lord, my love. We have no need for them. We have no need for them. I say never give them the chance. Let them rot. On the other side of the door, their pleas continue. Until the laughter rings on the other side. Vile, menacing. And I can only feel relief that I'm not in there with them, left at the mercy of that woman. Soon the ground trembles and the air shifts with their screams, while a thick acrid smell filters from the room beyond. And all at once... Oh my god. A silence. Deafening. Still. The same hush that comes after a terrible storm has swept the countryside. And with it is the sight of the sun rising above the horizon. Ever so slowly, the sky begins to lighten before my eyes. Darkness giving way to the warm morning hues, soft rays spilling over the vast expanse of Luxbourne's countryside. Nearby, the trees sway and rustle with the breeze. A passing draft cold enough to make me shiver. The remains of a storm that has passed. In the distance, I can hear the soft chirping of birds, while the rest of the world stirs, wakes. Dawn at last. I am free.
You see, my love, no difference. No difference, you and I.
A curious local finds the body within the mansion months later, and whispers quickly spread across the Luxbourne city upon its discovery. Officers who investigate have deemed the mystery of the Ermengarde mansion deaths as another tragedy brought upon the city by the Anselm Butcher. But for those who still believe in the stories of the old and those who know the truth, it is but a testament to the curse and the secrets the Ermengarde mansion has hidden for centuries. But there will come a time those will finally be revealed. Only the hallowed halls of the mansion know. To this day, it stands silent. However, the nights when the wind howls and the thunder booms across the sky, some still claim hearing of voices within, of cries and wails that fill nights and desperate calls for help for anyone who dares listen. As for the one who lives, got the saving Chivo. Luke Wright immediately left the city before news he has even broken out. By the time anyone has caught wind of what happened in the mansion, he is already long gone. All of his bank accounts have been emptied, including all of his Luxbourne apartments, leaving not a single trace or clue where he might be hiding. The last anyone has seen of him was on a flight bound for Barcelona, Spain. No one has heard of him since, even as people from Wright Enterprise, who have been left reeling for months with the absence of their CEO. Publicly named as the Anselm Butcher by Luxbourne authorities, the once affluent businessman has become one of the country's most wanted. However, up until now, he is yet to be found. Wow, this is really the power of money ending. As all the answers he has taken with his departure. Now let's just finally get the true ending. One way to correct a mistake. Mistake. Is it even one? Isn't this what I want for myself? To have everything. Money, power, hell, even women. Don't I have that freedom now and so much more? I married her for this. This has always been the plan had things not been derailed. Get rid of the dad and marry this terrier to Harris, acquire the company and make her disappear. Make it appear like a terrible accident. Clean, efficient. It somehow feels wrong to use that word. I loved her, didn't I? This is a sin, more like. Perhaps one deserves an equal punishment of death. A life for a life sort of deal. Payment for the countless other lives I've also ruined and added to get where I am. There used to be satisfaction in this, in getting what I want. Now I only feel remorse.
This is going to get me, no matter what I do, isn't it?
Luke, we can't stay here. We have to find a way out. We have to...
Go.
What? What are you talking about?
You heard me, Daisy. Go. Leave. Have you also gone deaf now?
Sir, is this about what we said? Forget about that. We're not leaving anyone here. Ash wouldn't want that.
As if I give a damn shit about him. He still pisses me off. If anything, he should be the one thanking me. I'm saving his friends. I suppose I should make note of that. Something to keep in mind in case we're ever going to meet in the afterlife. Provide we end up in the same place. Luke just buys himself up into the afterlife, into a nice place. Like, I thought, you know, you were a pretty bad person. Oh, I got a lot of money, it's alright. You just gotta pay the right people. You'd be surprised what demons would do with money. The crap I've done. I'll likely end up at the 7th level of hell. Funny how easy it is to think of these things with your death looming over you. Or maybe it's simply because I'm getting old. Well, not that old, but it certainly feels like it. I've done a lot of shitty stuff in my lifetime. So, maybe this one time, I might as well do some good. Pushing myself off the floor is a struggle on its own. More from the metaphorical weight on my shoulders and the pain in my limbs with this headache. There's no backing out now, I suppose. Even if Daisy still doesn't quite understand what I mean. There she sits, looking up at me with nothing but worry. I wonder if a different lifetime we would have become friends. They actually can. Had I been born to a more decent family, or Damien Wright took me away from the slums before I even learned how to use a knife.
Daisy, do fetch me one final drink, would you? There's a stash in that dresser beside you.
She quietly hands me one as I've requested, but only after the look of protest flickers across her face. I look at anywhere but her, fixating on the colorful glass ball she has just handed over to me, before I pop open the cork and take a swig. Or rather, a huge chug of the stuff. There was some delight when I feel a delightful burn on the back of my throat and realize it is exactly the wine I had in my hand. It's whiskey. How quaint. How fitting. This explains where the rest of the alcohol is.
This isn't the time for some booze, Luke. We're still stuck in this bloody nightmare.
I beg to differ. This is perfectly the time for booze.
A little sense of self-preservation from you would be really nice.
Such a nag. Though I don't think Hana would much appreciate me drinking in our room either. Or at all, if she has anything to say about it. Probably say something scathing and witty like, "You might as well shoot yourself in the liver, Lucille, royally now." Well, she can just tell me about it once we see each other again.
You, Steele, isn't it? Make sure your friends make it out of this place in one piece. It shouldn't be too hard for you, right?
Wait, what about you?
For all the weakness he displays, at least this man knows the right questions to ask. And that's exactly when it dawns on Daisy, her concern quickly melting into an expression of utter horror. Any other day I would have laughed loudly at that. To think she cares! I'm almost touched.
What are you... Don't be ridiculous, you ball bag!
You're kidding, right? Look, Wright! Mr. Wright, there must be some other way.
This isn't going to solve anything, you numpty! You're just giving her what she...
Daisy, Rebecca, do me a favor and watch over Kylie for me. The Rugrat shouldn't be allowed more than one glass of parfait a day. Her father spoils her too much.
Why don't you do that yourself? I'm not her godparent, you are!
I have to stifle the giggles that friend spill uncontrollably. I'm not yet drunk, but I might as well be. Losing my mind, maybe.
I'm afraid I won't be able to. You're going to have to apologize to her for me as well. You see, Daisy, where I'm going, there's no coming back from.
A smile. Then I'm dousing the whole room with the remaining liquor before a word escapes her mouth. They can only watch. I can tell they don't approve of this, but what can they do? It's my house. I can do whatever I want with it. And it doesn't take too long for Steele to catch on. He's seen this ugly side of me more than anyone here. There's still reluctance in him, of course. The man remains soft even for people who has openly hated him. There's still reluctance in him, of course. The man remains too soft even for people who have openly hated him. A hesitation in him, even as he's pulling two women away from the room, quickly ushering them through the doors that should lead them to the hallway.
But Luke, we can't...
Go on, Daisy. There's nothing left for you here.
A long moment of silence, of conflict and pain flashing fleetingly across her face. We never did get along much, Daisy and I. Though right now, I like to think she has come to care for a rotten bloke like me the way she might do for another friend. Unable to meet my eyes, perhaps out of some uncalled-for guilt, she simply reaches out for both my arm and gives it a light squeeze. And then in a voice so low and whispered,
This is what you want.
Not a question, merely a statement of fact. One that deserves an equal honesty. Funny, I've never been the honest sort.
Yes.
I'm sorry. We're sorry.
The look on Daisy's face before Steele closes the door behind them. Odd. There's no other word for it. It's the same one my own mum has given me, along with the same words. A gift. I considered them back then. I never understood the use for it. It's not like she didn't care of me like a mother should. Eleanor Chandler did more than that. But seeing such a strikingly similar expression on Daisy, I understand it now. It was not for her misgivings as a mother. It's for all the what-ifs, could-haves, and should-haves. Things that will never be because it's far too late.
I'm sorry, too.
Under the room's low light, the amber liquid gleams tauntingly where it has landed. On the floor. On the bed. On the walls. On every dresser its splatter has reached. It's brighter, of course, when set alight. But don't wait for it to spread. If I'm to die here, this place also has to go. Burned to the ground of every sin and horror it hides. I suppose it's the closest I can get to an atonement. Without a single glance back, I take the rest of my liquor stash from the dresser with me, and heading inside for the door to Hannah's nursery. It opens to the study before, though with how fucked up this place is, I'm not entirely sure what I'll find next. One thing's certain.
Somebody! Anyone! Help me! Help us! Luke, please! Our children!
Someone in this house. She waits. I allow her voice to lead me, following her cries and pleas as I go and douse each room I pass with alcohol and set it ablaze. Not a comforting thing to hear, but certainly a better sound than an agonized wail. Amidst the gore and the horror, it's the closest thing I can cling to, including the strayed thoughts I have somehow chosen to surface. Short bursts of memories I've always been fond of, more than I care to admit, either out of fear or embarrassment.
How about Botany Bay, Luke? In Kent? It's gorgeous there.
I don't know, but don't you think it's a little too far from here? Remember, I still have a company to manage.
Well, it won't always be that way, yes? And maybe we can also get a dog.
I suppose.
So, someday?
Someday, Buttercup. Someday.
In truth, a half-hearted response, spoken out of ignorance of some sort of complacency over the kind of life I assumed we'll have. Or I'll have. She was never meant to live past the second year of marriage. She has no idea how tempting those paltry dreams of hers now. A little house by the beach, a dog, our children, her, and the vast expanse of the sea before us. She was right. We would have been so beautiful. But as the whole of this place smolders, so do those. When I run out of liquor, I simply drop the bottle and take one off into the many nooks I've stashed one. There's no lack of it in here. The hard stuff, the shorts, the watered down kind. Gifts from a distant relative, friends, and so-called friends. You name it, I make sure there's always one within reach. Hana has called me out on this numerous times before, telling me I have a problem. I've always told her she doesn't know half of it, more completely dismissing her concerns.
Don't worry, what? That woman.
Right now, however, I'll give everything to hear her say that again. If only for the last time. For each room I pass and burn, the place becomes easier to navigate, as if it's slowly righting itself, returning to what it's supposed to be. Soon I finally found myself standing before the door to the attic. In the bedroom nearby, the strong odor of burning wood, cloth, and varnish alike wafts from under the door, slowly filling the hall with thick black smoke. Hopefully, Steele's able to get his friends out of here before it's too late. The blaze has already started in earnest in every part of the house. I can already feel the heat seeping from the rooms I've set aflame. In a matter of minutes, flames will engulf the whole house. But there's one more place left. Upstairs, where cries echo from. My feet fall hard and heavy against the old steps, a steep rickety thing that should have been fixed during renovation. I suppose the only thing this is where I make this march, up in the highest point of this place, as the rest of the world burns to the ground with me. A final fall. To death. To her. For some reason, nothing about this scares me, no matter how much I've dreaded this kind of end in the past. There's only a calm, a stillness, the same hush that comes after a terrible storm has swept the countryside. Even as I open the door and I'm greeted not by Hana's warm embrace, but her cold, chilling smile. The reality of this, the terror, doesn't take hold and sink until my knees hit the floor and I hear a whisper in my ear. In a voice so familiar yet different, reverberating inside my head, and soft murmurs and sighs, while her arms come from behind and rest across my chest.
You came home to us.
I guess hoping to see Hana here is already asking far too much. Perhaps something I don't deserve even in death. Yet tears flow freely from my eyes despite its disappointment. Nothing but lightness and air and the feeling of finally being released from the shackles that have scraped me raw. Because the end of this road is her. And to think, this is it. This is how I die. A gradual descent to the abyss as everything around us goes up in flames. Behind me, the window blows out from the heat. But above the piercing sound of shattering glass, the rustling of trees against a light breeze. A passing draft that carries even to this room from the outside, cold enough to make me shiver, strong enough to fan the flame's fervor. In the distance, I can hear the soft chirping of birds, while the rest of the world stirs, awakes. Ever so slowly, darkness gives way to the warm morning hues. The soft rays of the morning sun, all together spilling into the window, stirring a distant memory of a laughter and a tender voice I long to hear one last time.
Thank you.
I did not do it for you.
Dawn at last. And she is free. That's a new memory fragment. It's a burning. And that's a final memory fragment. So Charlotte wrote the help me in the letter. I do think it's a dual ghost. Or rather, it is probably the mansion to an extent, and everything that's went down. But the ghost that is murdering everybody, like specifically, I think it is both Lady Charlotte and the servant. In a way, it's a little quirky. Like the flames that engulfed the mansion that night, whispers quickly spread across Luxborn City after the incident. Officers who investigate have deemed the tragedy of Ermengarden Mansion an accident, an unfortunate outcome of a long-rumored domestic dispute between Luke and Hannah Wright, killing innocent lives. But for those who still believe in the stories of the old and those who know the truth, PT is but a testament to the curse and the secrets the Ermengarden Mansion has hidden for centuries. Yet there will come a time those will finally be revealed. Only the ashes of the now ruined mansion know. However, in the nights when the wind howls and the thunder booms across the sky, some still claim hearing of voices where it once stood. of cries and wails that fill the nights and desperate calls of help for anyone who dares listen. As for those who remain, Zachary Steele decides to give the movie industry another try a year after. He looks a little thinner now. I guess it's just a drawing though. This time he brings a film that tells of a harrowing experience on the shadow of the Ermengarde Mansion's curse. You find out that the visual novel is like written by Zach. The Letter, written by Zachary Steele. With help from Rebecca Gales and Isabel Santos in production, he's able to bring it to life 2 years later. But unlike his first foray into the indie scene, this one turns out to be a blockbuster hit, gaining him accolades from several award-giving bodies. Of course, the non-political commentary, kind of a social commentary movie, does great. The horror slasher flick he makes is a big hit. Although the film has brought him considerable success and opportunities, Zachary claims it will be the last film he'll be making, remarking that he really wishes to tell the tale. A decision he has yet to change his mind on, much to his fans' disappointment. After the clamor for the movie has died down, he quietly returns to his freelance photography business, living a simple life in the same old apartment, away from the spotlight. All the same, he dedicates the film's success in honor of an unnamed friend. Determined to disclose the truth, Rebecca Gales writes a book detailing Loxbourne City's true history. With help from Professor Andrew Clark, she proceeds to give her every minute information from current accounts. Charlotte Ermengarde's role in the city's foundation and the truth behind the very woman who built it. This, in spite of the Professor's stern warnings against bringing those to light, Charlotte Ermengarde has always been revered by the people of Loxbourne after all. And sure enough, upon a publication, it creates a huge stir. Although considered a masterpiece by some, even becoming a bestseller, it's also met with harsh criticisms from Loxbourne's academic circles. Others believe it attacked the city's way of life, outright condemning it. But it doesn't take long for it to reach controversial status, and mere months after its release, the book becomes a subject of litigation. How could they even sue on that? As a result, it has since been withdrawn from the shelves by the publisher, while that book's value must have skyrocketed. To date, Rebecca accused the effort to bring it back to market, knowing its worth, a war that seems to be winning in time. Doing it not for herself, but for the memory of a dear friend whom the book has been dedicated to. Months after the incident, Isabella Santos has finally found the courage to pursue what she truly wants. Having made enough to keep her family afloat for a few years, with her blessing, she quits her job at Briar Realty Corporation and takes a scholarship offered by a local university. I feel like you actually look better with your hair down. Slowly she regains recognition, both in the local and international art scene, for her vivid depiction of death and suffering. Although continuously lauded for her talent, no one knows why she has chosen such a dark subject. She has kept mumbling about it throughout the years. Perhaps the closest answer the curious will get is when she asks, is the slight shift of her eyes and the wistful look that crosses her face. A quiet glance towards a painting of a young man in her studio. Her best-known work, and strangely the only one from her collection with an ardent expression of life and of love realized far too late. From the ashes. Wow, that's a pun. And it's only during those short, kindled moments that she ever smiles again. Although now busy with their new lives after the curse, Isabella Santos, Rebecca Gales, and Zachary Steele remain close friends. A bond that has only grown tighter throughout the years. But even after so long, Ashton Frey's loss is still a grief all of them carry. And on the same day as what became known as Ermengarde Mansion tragedy to the public, they always make it a point to meet where he lies. Once a year, when they exchange stories and talk like the way they all used to. A shadow of what they were before the tragedy. Their way of coping with a sorrow that still looms over them. Though they never speak of it, will never, each of them know that this death is a wound that may never heal. They can only carry on.
I knew the game was over before the rules were set. I've never been a winner. I didn't want to play. I thought there was a way out, but there's no exit from this maze, where every path is the wrong turn and every choice is a everyone I care, until there were no more lies to tell. Cowardice is easier than being brave, but at last I found the strength I lost to sing my love letter to you. 'Cause people can lie, but my lone heart beats true. It was a simple question, my answer came too late, and every time I said no, I wanted to say yes. They say speak your mind, tell the truth, but there is room for each regret. So many fears to overcome, so little time to conquer them. I lied to the Lord, I lied to myself, I lied to you and everyone I care, until there were no more lies to tell. Cowardice is easier than being brave, but at last I found the strength I lost to sing my love letter to you. 'Cause people can lie, but my lone heart beats true. The ghost of guilt and sorrow remembers who I am, and in the prison of my heart, I was my only slave. But in the depths of my cold soul, I'll leave the burden and despair. I'll fight for what's worth fighting for. Forget the fear, forget the rest. I lied to the Lord, I lied to myself, I lied to you and everyone I care, until there were no more lies to tell. Cowardice is easier than being brave, but at last I found the strength I lost to sing my love letter to you. 'Cause people can lie, but my lone heart beats true.
So that's it for the letter. I'm not going to talk about the plot too much. The plot's very straightforward. The only thing I would say is that I do think there is a kind of a hybrid ghost going on there at the end, as we see by the ghost kind of changing form. That's about the only little minor twist. But I will get very quickly into what I think of this VN, and I would say this visual novel has some of the best presentation I've seen, out of many visual novels actually. Only a few of them actually have that kind of level of polish and presentation, and the routes and choices do actually matter. For the most part. There is some routes where you will see some only minor variations, but for the most part, this does actually have choices that matter and do change a thing pretty dynamically. And most AAA devs, and even like Telltale whatnot, like can't get that done. So kudos to them, although they're working in VN format, they're not having to make 3D models or action scenes or anything. But great presentation and stuff like that. No complaints there, and great voice acting. Some of the roles not as good as others, but for the most part, the lead roles all had great delivery. And characters-wise, some of the characters I feel like aren't as good as others. Not necessarily because of the writing, but it's because of their enjoyment. Luke obviously steals the show. He's such a bad person. He's kind of like that horror Chad character, and you always need the horror Chad, because they make things go wrong, and they're over the top and stuff, and they kind of screw over other people, and you can't have a realistic horror story without people getting messed up by the actions of another, because realistically, you know, people are more sensible in real life, and for you to have that callous of things going terrible, you need terrible people there. So he fills the role beautifully. His voice actor does a great job in delivering his lines and everything. And his little bants and whatnot with his butler are all fairly entertaining for what is, you know, supposed to be a rotten person. So, kudos to Luke and his VA and the character writing on that. You don't have to like the character, but as far as performance, really great job. But anyway, kind of moving away from that, if we have to talk to the problems about this VN, and this is what kind of drops it sometimes to being mediocre. Sometimes it's really good, and sometimes it really hard drops to mediocre. Never terrible, but mediocre at the very minimum. And that's obviously the pacing. This VN probably could have been much shorter. We could have maybe even trimmed out routes and kind of like put in some other characters' development into other routes instead. Like maybe Hana and Zax could have been maybe merged together a bit. And Marianne kind of is just there. I mean, she is the backer character, so that makes sense. And the other girl she has the guilt over is also a backer character, and they're kind of shoved into the same route. But she kind of just there, and once she's gone, so definitely could have been trimmed down. And not to say that there shouldn't be any fluff for character development, but you should always think of creative ways of delivering the character development and fluff in a way that the plot is still moving. And you also must always have vehicles to get you to the next set piece. So I'm going to make a comparison to Danganronpa. And Danganronpa is about the same amount of length, actually, almost equivalent. But the difference between Danganronpa is, while it does have fluff and those little dating, not really dating, but kind of VN segments in between court cases, there is always something kind of happening. And there is always a motivation of either there's a murder, or there's a mystery, or there's tension, or some kind of dialogue going on that moves you to the next chapter, and then the next trial. And here sometimes you don't have anything moving you to the next horror set piece, which there could be more of in the first place. Zach's route was actually one of the better ones, because I feel like it had a nice balance of fluff, and horror set pieces, and everything else, and a character that you would care about. Other routes, not so much. But yeah, that's what I would basically tell the developers and writers about this, if they ever go to make another VN or anything, which they most likely will. But especially for a first foray into this world, and like this is their first work and whatnot, they're completely amateur devs. This is, you know, a pretty good accomplishment, a pretty amazing stuff. Anyway, thank you all for watching me play the letter. So I'll see you guys later, and take it easy.